Wow, that's a lot of people. Thank you. It's because we got. There's something about MAGA country, play it over again, we got, make America great again. And by the way, there's the word disinformation, think of it. And by the way, this is the most corrupt election, think of it. You know what? I am not the one trying to undermine American democracy. I am the one trying to save American democracy. If you say it enough and keep saying it, they'll start to believe you. But you know, they say it over and over and over. If you say it enough and keep saying it enough, they'll start to believe you. And by the way, we got. There's something about MAGA country, play it over again, we got, make America great again. It's okay to get along with heads of other countries, don't you think? Trump was so friendly with Russia. Think of it. You know, they say it over and over on the fake news media. Oh, there's a lot of them. The media in this country is corrupt. Camera just went off. And keep saying it. They'll start to believe you. 2 cameras just went off. I think it's one of my greatest achievements. They don't like it when I do. Oh, gee, I'm so surprised. And by the way, we got. There's something about MAGA country, play it over again, we got, make America great again. They go and target me. I'm gonna get Trump. A friend of mine said, you have to be the cleanest guy in history. What? They want to go to windmills, right? Windmills, wind. They want to go, let's go build the windmill, Alice. No more wind. Nancy, she had the single biggest mask. This mask went from her hair all the way down to here. Look at you. Some of the women are a mess. That's true. Look at a woman. She's a mess. You actually look better. You just don't know. And keep saying it. They'll start to believe you. Oh, gee, I'm so surprised. And by the way, it's because we got. There's something about MAGA country, play it over again, we got, make America great again.
Now listen, if you have not subscribed to a YouTube channel, do it right now. Do it today. And all you have to do is click the big red subscribe button on the YouTube channel.
And now, Matt Wright and Spike Cohen.
And Jason Lang.
Morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike, Helen, Oive, East, Mirren, Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom with Mr. Bearded Truth himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Lyon is with us this evening. Everybody, please welcome Jason to the show.
Helen, what?
Oive East Mirren.
Jason, say hi to the folks.
I'm terrified of you all right now, and I love you guys. Glad to be here.
Folks, thanks so much for tuning into this Muddied Waters Media Production. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, everything. Check us out everywhere. We're everywhere. And be sure to share this right now. Share it, like it, subscribe, hit the bell, press the comment, and say things. Algorithm. Think algorithm. With everything you do on the show, algorithm. Just constantly do things to show reach and appreciation. And donate over here. But we'll talk about more of that in a minute. But yeah, hit the bell. I want your phone to subscribe. Turn my phone on silent. I want your phone to absolutely explode with notifications every single time we go live right now. Thank you so much. Matt?
First and foremost, allow me to thank the wonderful and fantastic people at siestacava.com for the cava I drink on this and every single episode of Muddied Waters Media.
And allow me to thank Le Bleu for this delicious water that I hope Jason has some water.
Not yet.
Or milk or
I hope
something.
Jason has some milk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Water's going to make it worse.
Some water from Le Bleu. It's made
This
America,
delicious,
like-
nice, cooling kava.
Oh, my throat feels so soothed. Jason, who do you want to thank for what you're going to be consuming this episode?
I don't know if I want to thank them, but I will definitely thank everyone for what I'm about to be drinking. And that would be, of course, a wonderful variety of peppers and chilies. We also may be able to have some of the hottest beef jerky on the planet, and as well as we have a 7 million Scoville unit hot sauce that I'll be putting on a chip potentially. That's about all that I'm going to be ingesting without you.
Yeah,
guys'
so
help.
let's explain this. So for every $100 that we raise, and the link is over here. So we are raising money. Let's talk about the shrimp for a minute. So there was a family who was a friend of the Muddy Waters Media family, a friend of all of ours, and they are fighting to keep one of their children, and because of the mess that happens in family court, they are asking to remain anonymous. So we are keeping them anonymous and respecting their wishes, but we do want to help them on the hopeful off chance that they end up not needing the money, that it ends up being dismissed sooner. Then they will refund any monies that have been raised that were not used. But
Which means everything that he's doing tonight might be for naught.
There's a potential that everything Jason does tonight will
I'm already
only
sweating.
help this family in showing them support, but not actually help them in any substantial way. But that's a whole other subject. And so to help raise money, here's what we have set up. Let me rephrase that. Here's what Jason has set up. I think this is a terrible idea. Matt's neutral about it. This was Jason's idea.
Right.
So
yeah,
let me just-
100% Jason's idea. When he pitched it, I went, man, if this is what you want to do, I'm not going to tell you not to.
Yeah. We all want
'Cause
to
I'm
know
a
this
friend.
family as well.
If I could direct everyone to the GoFundMe page and see who the author is. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. Matt did all this under my help. I told him to do it. It's my
raising the money was Matt's idea. this was your idea, and I was blameless for all of this. But anyway, so for the first $100, for every $100 that is raised above this $890 amount, Jason is going to eat the next hot pepper. So, and they're going to get progressively hotter as they go forward. Now, Jason was not able to find any ghost peppers or murder peppers, but so for every $1,000 that is hit past this 890, he will eat habaneros until 2,000. If we raise at 2,000, Jason will eat the hottest beef jerky on the planet.
If I could, when I got
please.
this wonderful pepper, or this wonderful peppered beef jerky, the shop owner who owns the shop of hot and spiciness informed me that this was not only truly accurate as the hottest beef jerky on the planet, but when he bought it, he tried it himself and could not open the store the next day.
Wow.
So naturally,
and this is a man who works at a pepper store.
Yes. This is not somebody who goes to a Thai restaurant and orders just a 10 like I do. This is a guy that goes and says, you can't make it spicy enough. Give me the spice rack, and just eats the spice rack without the food. Like, just beyond.
Wow.
I can't. I actually can't handle 10. But let me be honest with you guys. I eat the
Brent-
6 on a good day.
Brent DeRitter is very concerned for your safety right now.
So I would like to say this. I didn't want to put this in the rules, but if you guys give an odd and peculiar dollar amount between $11 and $19, then I can make a choice of being able to drink milk, of drinking water, of eating some saltines, of eating bread. or whatever else I can in order to help soothe myself. So those of you who are gravely concerned, and trust me, I will potentially be donating to myself on this just to get some support. You guys are more than welcome to. And
it looks like we already got our first $100. Thanks.
Well, he still has to eat the $100 from Tom Arnold.
Yes. So Tom
Yes,
Arnold,
that's
right.
who we all know as the Liberty Claus, has been having connectivity issues. So he donated prior to the show. So this is for Tom.
Mm-hmm.
So I will bear with me. Some of these things I have no idea what they are. I went to a Hispanic farmer's market and I said, I want all of the peppers. I want all the varieties. I want hot peppers. And so he said, spicy? I said, yes, spicy. So some of these things I have no idea. I know that they are spicy and I know that I'm going to regret this decision later, but it's for such a good cause that I'm going to be doing it. So this one's for Tom Arnold, and then I'll go right into the next one.
This is gonna be a nightmare. Like I am legit concerned about Jason's health. He's already.
I'm genuinely concerned now as well. Oh my!
Oh man. Okay, so everyone who wants to donate, here's the link down here: GoFund.me/519CCC22. In fact, I'm gonna put the.
Buddy, that's your first one.
This is already. This is a terrible idea.
There were so many seeds.
What a bad idea this was. I just want to say that again. Let me get that link.
All right.
Okay.
Going in for the second one.
We haven't even
I'm
done
going to use the other side of the
yet.
mouth. Maybe that's going to be a better idea, right? My mouth is already burning.
Sure.
Is that?
I mean,
Yeah. No, that's good.
Do I reburn the
that's-
same spot or do I spread the burn?
I think at some point it just numbs, right? Here's the link to donate. We just put it in the comments.
and it should be, it's pinned on Facebook, I think, to the top. I think I did that right.
I'm gonna put it in the comments as me, just oh no, it showed up. Okay, all right, cool. So
Okay, cool.
There are so
Yeah,
many
so it's
seeds.
Oh,
So many seeds in both of those.
So we've already. Oh, I guess I can't. There we go. All right, cool. So yep, 1,000. So here we go. Let me read. Is this gonna be like? Okay, all right. So you're good for now. All right, let's talk about the sponsors to give Jason a little bit of time to recover here. So this episode is brought to you, of course, by the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, the fastest growing waffle-related caucus in this or any other part. Well, what am I saying? This is the second largest caucus in the Libertarian Party and the fastest growing caucus in the entire party. Yeah. Yep. So if you'd like to become a member, go to the Facebook group Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus. And if you want to become an official voting member, which means absolutely nothing, you can go to muddiedwatersmedia.com/store and get some sweet ass Muddy Waters gear, and you can get some Muddy Waters gear, but also you can get some Waffle House gear, Waffle House Caucus gear, including shirts and buttons. And if you'd like to buy weed on the internet, Cumberland Cannabis Co. is the perfect place for you to buy weed on the internet. Cumberland Cannabis Co. sells viable, ethical, and effective weed on the internet. So go to cumberlandcannabisco.com to buy weed on the internet. Gravy King. Joe Solosky is running for governor of Pennsylvania. He is the key to Pennsylvania's success, and if you'd like to help Joe become the first libertarian governor in human history, go to joesolosky.com. That's JoeSoloski.com. Jack Casey. Whoa, why is that little? That's funny. Jack Casey wrote these books. What are they about? Well, I have no idea, and I'll never know because I'm never going to read them. And because I'm stubborn. And also, honestly, if they were bad, I'd feel bad about selling them on this show. And if they were good, I'd feel bad about how I talk about them. Because I don't know what they're about, but they look kind of silly. And his third book, which promises to be equally silly, Crowned by Gold, is available later this summer of 2021. If you go to theroyalgreen.com, you can help possible cult leader Jack Casey sell his weird books about jewelry that's weird and looks at you. And that one vomits, and the other one's got a butterfly eyeballs.
And there's something about some ship in there called the orphanage, which is just weird because it's Jack Casey. And I think it's just him dealing with his pains of being a child.
Speaking of,
can we
creepy
not talk
shit,
about pains right now?
Why is all this stuff?
Why is that one
wrong?
big?
What is happening right now? Speaking of really creepy stuff that I don't know why anyone would ever want to do it, but here we go. Adderpan. Let's all play Adderpan, but not me, because holy no, fuck that. Adderpan is a scary game. It's scary, and it's don't play it. If you want to be really scared, sure, play it. It's available for only $5 on Steam. And it's good that it's only $5 because you're going to need the rest of your money for, I don't know, probably like ketamine to help with your psychological issues you'll have after playing this, and, ongoing therapy and all that fun stuff. But you know what isn't scary? Like this game, which you can get for only $5 on Steam, Adderpan. What's not scary is Fierce Luxury by Ashley. Fierce Luxury by Ashley, possibly our only serious product. Well, no, they're all serious products, but this one is serious, and it's hard to make fun of it because it's just a consignment shop where you can buy some of the hottest luxury items like Louis Vuitton and Hermes. It's Hermes. So if you have some Hermes that you'd like to get rid of, go to fierceluxurybyashley.com, and she is consigning things at a 30% fee. That's 20% less than everyone else. She told me. I don't know if that's true, but I can't imagine why she.
I don't think she would lie to us.
I don't think. Why would Ashley of Fierce Luxury by Ashley lie to us? Of course she wouldn't. So go to fierceluxurybyashley.com, and then of course where's the other one? There we go. Jonathan Reels. Jonathan Reels is not a real boy. He wants to be, but he's not because he hasn't raised enough money for the federal government to acknowledge him as a real person running for Congress. If you go to jonathan.cash, I know that's higher than 486 now. I just haven't gotten the new graphic, but he is getting closer every single day to the $5,000 he needs for the federal government to recognize Jonathan Reels as being a real Jonathan. Jonathan.cash. How you feeling, Jason?
I regret to inform you guys that they've donated further. You should reverse
that. There we go. $100 at a time, just so you can really.
Oh man, that's even behind what I have here as the as the moderator of that. I love you, Jason. This was your idea.
This was your idea.
I feel like that's going to be like the slogan for tonight. Jason, right. This was your idea.
This was your idea.
But Muddied Waters is happy to announce that we donated $100.
And numbers divisible by 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18.
It was just a flat one. Just a flat.
So your wife has informed us that she has donated $11, which allows you to
have a drink of milk.
To have a drink of milk. And someone else, Lady Desiree, said, "I
man, it is $1,283."
I love you guys all. I just want to say, like, this is when we were brainstorming for this. When this cause was brought to me, I knew that libertarians and our core belief that we all love to bring up others within our society. Mm-hmm. And I knew that we also like arena battles in some regard, and we like to see like the pain and suffering. And so I figured I would fuse these two together, and I suddenly regret all of my decisions. So here goes the next pepper, and then once it refreshes the 1200, I'll eat that pepper, then I'll get some milk.
I want to let you know that Therese Burkhart, and your wife both gave an odd number in between in between 11 and 19. So,
I will use one of those after these next two peppers, and then after that, thank you so much. The wife is also donating paper towels. I forgot where I was going with this.
She's worried you'll make a mess. I love that that's her biggest concern right now, is that you don't like make a mess.
And she brought me a trash can too. This one's also got so many seeds.
So we're gonna circle back to the show. Again, everyone who wants to watch Jason suffer. I mean, at this point, it doesn't even matter what we're raising the money for. But if you want to watch Jason suffer, gofund.me/519CCC22.
Please.
That's him. Yeah, just go ahead and do that.
I want to call in sick tomorrow. Let's do this. Here's the next one.
Well, that's apparently what's going to happen. Sarah made a good point, and leave it to the Jew to come up with a legalistic standpoint here. She said, "Why are you eating the whole thing? Oh my God! You could have just been taking bites." All right. Oh man.
Man, I get it. That's what I do when she's like, "Why are you doing that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, watch. I'm gonna do it even harder now."
Yeah, yeah. So one person, Thomas Queter, suggested that maybe if we can raise the whole amount, you just have some capsaicin-based pepper spray. Just suck some of that. That way you really don't have to worry about going to work. Oh, man.
So do you know what time it is?
It sounds to me, speaking of something that would probably actually help with this right now, it's time for the Mudwater mushroom. What do we call it? The Mudwater
mushroom coffee
replacement cacao rapid fire segment, brought to you by Mudwater brand coffee alternative. If you woke up today and said, "Man, I just ate a crap ton of peppers, and what I need is some masala chai, cacao, mushrooms, turmeric, sea salt, cinnamon, and literally nothing else." Well, folks, what a great time for you, because if you go to muddywatersmedia.com/mud, you can get some Mudwater today. And I'm guessing that Jason would love to have. Wow.
You're looking good, buddy.
I'm increasingly concerned. We haven't even hit 2,000 yet. So speaking of people that are in visible discomfort most of the time, Kamala Harris.
Water.
No, milk. My daughter brought me a gallon jug of water.
Oh, that's
That's very sweet of her. Very sweet.
That's only gonna make it worse, sweetie. Or maybe
does Mudwater quell pepper pain? I'm not going to say that it does, but I'm saying it's going to have a better chance than anything else.
I mean, it might.
That's
What if Mudwater just completely neutralizes pepper pain? I'm scared to refresh this. Okay, no, we're still there. All right,
we're still good.
So Kamala Harris appeared on BET this weekend, almost as flustered as Jason is right now. She was asked about whether or not she would see voter ID as a concession that she would be willing to give. And here is her response to that question.
I don't think that we should underestimate what that could mean. Because in some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove you are who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't. There's no kinkos. There's no Office Max near them. People have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws, be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are.
She is right. There is no kinkos.
There is no
America.
And there might be an Office Max.
Okay, but also, you don't actually have to photocopy it. Like, how on earth could anyone ever make a copy of anything now?
Right.
Like, that's impossible. You need a kinkos to do this.
You need a Kinko's or an Office Max in order to make a right. And these are the same people who, I'm going to totally rip off your tweet. These are the same people that were saying
no. We're not going to rip off our tweet, because the incredible Larry the Cable Guy, the point he made is that, as Larry the Cable Guy said, Spike Cohen's really smart. And he tweeted Spike Cohen former VP candidate for the Libertarian Party, Spike Cohen, as saying a reminder that the same government who thinks that rural Americans can't photocopy their ID wanted them to have a vaccine passport smartphone app to be able to go to the store. Great point, Larry the Cable Guy.
Jimmy Lee says my redneck ass doesn't have a Kinko's nearby. That's because nobody has a Kinko's nearby. I think the last one closed got officially absolved into FedEx in like 2003.
Oh, that's right. Kinko's is now the FedEx store.
Or yeah, FedEx it's the FedEx shipping or whatever it's called.
Oh, FedEx office. Yeah. There is no Kinko's anymore.
And Office Max is Office Depot.
Larry knows.
I just want to inform everyone. The milk is like curdling in my mouth. It is. it turns into a creamy texture.
Wow.
So thank you guys so much for all the love and support so far.
Jack Casey says, I donated $7, but my request is that we raise the pepper increments to 500 instead of 100 because he cares about you. Because Jack Casey.
I am concerned.
If it pleases the crowd, how about that?
I don't think anything will please this crowd. I think this crowd wants blood, the way that they're donating. They want suffering.
Yeah. So Brent DeRitter gave $13 and Jack Casey gave $7, which Jack Casey didn't follow the instructions, but I think we can allow it.
Jack Casey didn't read the instructions, which is why Spike Cohen will read his book.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
But he said do it and he'll donate another $7.
This is incredible. Kenny Johnson says, I don't like watching him hurt himself. Neither do we. We did not think this was a good idea. Let's see. Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. I think maybe the 500 thing is a good idea. Maybe
the 500 thing.
If we can go at once we hit 1,500, if we can move to 200, that would help appease the empathetic viewers.
Sure.
And still give you guys an easy. So if I could be honest with you guys, right? I believed in this message. I believed that this was going to be successful, and you guys are already blowing my mind with all the support and love.
Sure. This is.
Ooh.
So. Speaking of
Kamala Harris
discomfort, so Kamala Harris.
I forgot what I didn't know. I was just trying to get it back. So the White House.
Speaking of cops, speaking of police.
There you go. Nice. A White House memo was sent out yesterday morning, Monday, to state and local officials discussing the need to put more police officers on the beat and urge the use of the American Rescue Plan funding to hire more law enforcement officers, bringing the police forces back above pre-pandemic levels in communities experiencing an increase in gun violence associated with the pandemic. If we were just to take a look at where those areas are, those are the areas where they wanted to defund the police and voted heavily for Joe Biden because they were under the impression that is what he would do.
That is.
Even if he never said it.
I mean, it would be funny if this didn't result in people getting hurt.
Right.
Now, incredibly, Larry the Cable Guy also had something to say about this.
Fuck you, Dan! If you got heartburn, I'll tell you what, you need to get Prilosec. Get her done.
That's shockingly like what it's like. I mean, almost word for word.
I eat ribs every day, and I love it. But I'll tell you what, one more thing about how much ribs I eat, a lot. I'm Larry the Cable Guy. Eat Prilosec.
Eat Prilosec?
Consume Prilosec.
Almost positive he doesn't phrase it like that.
If you go to a football sports game and you run out of chips, eat Prilosec. It'll bring you joy.
It's brilliant. It's a brilliant fucking thought.
God. Got loads of calories.
And it'll give you.
It's what I think of every time I think of Larry the Cable Guy. I think of that guy going, "Consume Prilosec." Which is what Jason's gonna have to do after all of this. He's
because we just got
consume private.
a bevy of new donations.
I'm seeing
Oh,
how
no.
fast Amazon can deliver.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Hold on. Where are we at now? Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. I don't know if it's that people want you to suffer or that they want the suffering to end.
Right, they're trying to get it to the 1500s so that way.
They're just trying to get you.
Let me change it up and go with the jalapeno. I think that's going to be a little bit less spicy.
Okay.
That's a good call. Now, the memo went on to say our strategy provides, including funding for law enforcement through the American Rescue Plan for states, cities, and to be able to hire police and pay them overtime in order to advance community policing. He said that the plan will also invest in community violence intervention.
Which, by the way, community policing is the term that the Department of Justice has been using for about a decade now to describe counterterrorism by police. It is not community policing as described by police reform advocates, meaning communities policing themselves or community-based policing or police departments that only hire within the same communities. There are a few different definitions of community policing that are all used by different police reform advocates that are all different ways to try to de-escalate violence within police departments. When the federal government talks about community policing, what they're talking about is counterterrorism. They're talking about using the police to police the community. And the community means Muslim people, typically.
Typically. Jason, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
How many drinks of milk have you had?
This is one drink.
Okay, well, you have 3 more coming then.
Oh, jeez. Thank you for keeping track of that.
Yeah, because I'm not keeping track of that at all. But
I'm keeping track of when he gets to drink.
I do want to keep track to remind everyone that it was Jen Psaki and the Democrats who said that if you had wanted to defund the police, you should have voted for Trump, which is just...
Because it was the Republicans who were voting against police funding. She said, I wish we still had that overlay because she said that last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of community policing, the White House is going to be sending people door to door, Matt.
Door to door. People's door to door to push vaccination, the vaccine to people in all communities across the nation, according to Jen Psaki. And they'll also be supporting local vaccine mandates for the COVID vaccine. So they're going to be coming door to door, knocking on the door, being like, hey, if you haven't been vaccinated, you should be. Now, I don't know if they're going door to door to just every door or just to the people who aren't vaccinated, because if it's just to the people who aren't vaccinated, that scares the shit out of me.
That means there's a list.
That means there's a list. If they're going door to door to every door, whatever. Like, okay.
They're 100% they are not. They are going
because
door to door of people that have not registered as vaccinated, which means they have been keeping track. And remember when just a few days ago, even the mere suggestion that the federal government was keeping track of who was vaccinated and who wasn't would get you called all sorts of names. Then now those same people are insulting you if you don't answer the door.
Right. Yeah. The fact that they're even considering going door to door to try to push this vaccine, even if, because when this first broke, I saw a bunch of people on Twitter saying they didn't say they're going just to the people who aren't vaccinated. They're going, they might just be going to every door. And I said, okay, that's actually a valid point. But until somebody's like going and actually knocking and they're skipping 3 houses or 2 houses or just 1 house, like if they skip 1 house, I'm just going to be like, they have a list. Like, I'll watch them. I don't care.
I'm going to go with them. Like, no, I'm good, but I'm going to follow. I want to shadow you because I like door-to-door sales. and then I'll go with them and be like, hey, what's that you got there? Why are their names on that?
You should follow up with them, and like after they go to a door, go knock on the door and be like, here's what the government has done in order to prevent the market from responding to COVID as quickly as it could.
Oh, wow.
And
Here's how
run
Warp
down-
Speed failed us. Yes. I like that idea, actually. Hi, folks. I have some great news for you. You can ignore the people that just came to your house. Did you know that you have a right to refuse search and seizure? Tell them to come back with a warrant. Yeah. So, speaking of Biden, I guess that's our first topic for the day. Oh, let's do a quick update before we go further. Let's see if there's any. Oh, 1469. Nice.
Nice. 1469. That doesn't get you to a new 100, does it? So you get a little bit of a reprieve right now.
You get a little bit
do.
of a
Yeah, you get a little bit of a break right now. So
go ahead.
So according to a White House fact sheet, which I believe you can find in the comments, or not in the comments, in the show notes, the president he is comparing himself to the Roosevelts. So today, President Biden is taking decisive action to reduce the trend of corporate consolidation, increase competition, and deliver concrete benefits to America's consumers, workers, farmers, and small businesses. When past presidents faced similar threats from growing corporate power, they took bold action. In the early 1900s, Teddy Roosevelt's administration broke up the trusts controlling the economy, Standard Oil, J.P. Morgan's railroads, and others, giving the little guy a fighting chance. In the late 1930s, FDR's administration supercharged antitrust enforcement, increasing more than 8-fold the number of cases brought in just 2 years. Enforcement actions that saved consumers billions in today's dollars and helped unleash decades of sustained, inclusive economic growth.
Yeah, there's so much that was wrong there. I have to.
So much wrong.
So,
wait till we get to what it is.
Standard Oil, J.P. Morgan, all of those were things that had been basically chartered as monopolies by federal and state governments. Like, that wasn't a market reaction. The breakup wasn't necessary. If they had simply gotten rid of the regulations that and the charters and the direct no bid that was the first era of no bid contracts. If they'd simply not done any of that, there would have been far more cooperation for the little guy to have a fighting chance. And then FDR, it was so-called antitrust enforcement that actually led that first wave of companies that did business. And this was in the midst of the run-up to World War II, and you still had companies fleeing the U.S. for other countries to get away from the regulations that were being put in place by FDR. And many of those monopolies that he was breaking up had been created in the first place by his New Deal policies and the policies of Woodrow Wilson and, to a lesser extent, Warren G. Harding. So, anyway, go ahead.
So, among other things, I believe that the executive order had 72 items on it. I grabbed a bunch of them, but it wasn't 72 because we have other things to talk about. I'm not going to lie. There are certain things on this list I'm not opposed to. Make it easier to change jobs and help raise wages by banning or limiting non-compete agreements and unnecessary cumbersome occupational licensing requirements that impede economic mobility.
I like the occupational licensing requirement. I'd be more interested in how that non-compete agreement's going to work.
Right. And again, these are just how it was listed. Don't know how it's all going to play out. But I do like getting rid of occupational licensing, and non-compete agreements. I think I don't agree with them. I don't like.
I'm not a fan of them in theory, but I understand the purpose originally behind them. I think they do get abused. But again, that's because of a lack of competition and way over abuse of IP. If you have, if you can use IP and non-compete agreements to effectively make sure you have no competition. The problem there is the IP, not the non-compete agreement. But yeah, I mean, if I've taught someone how to do something and then I tell them I don't want you to compete with me for the next year within this geographical area, and I just spent a year plus teaching them how to do that, then this discourages apprenticeship type of agreements. So if it says banning or limiting, maybe if the limiting was to make it where it couldn't go past a certain geographical area or something, or maybe a certain time frame or something like that, then maybe. But the occupational licensing thing actually sounds better.
Right. No, I agree. Lower prescription drug prices by supporting state and tribal programs that will import safe and cheaper drugs from Canada.
Why not just let people import drugs from Canada?
Right. I mean, I think that's what they're saying, is to let the states import drugs from Canada.
Yeah, but why not just let us do it? I mean,
fair.
This is not.
So the way I read it, if your state says you can import drugs from Canada, that means you, the individual, can import drugs from Canada.
That was how I read it. Yeah. Okay, if that's what that means, then absolutely. And
again, these are copy and paste, so I don't know how they mean it exactly. Right. But that was how I read it. This one I liked a lot. Save Americans with hearing loss thousands of dollars by allowing hearing aids to be sold over the counter at drugstores. Right now, the cost of hearing aids is roughly about $5,000 after doctor's visits and checks and being able to get it. And I think there's only like 3 or 4 companies that make hearing aids. Just let them buy them. Let them buy them without a prescription.
I like that. I don't have any problem with that at all. That's good.
Save Americans money on their internet bills by banning excessive early termination fees, requiring clear disclosure of plan costs to facilitate comparison shopping, and ending landlord exclusivity arrangements that stick tenants with only a single internet option.
Yeah, so that last one's going to make internet cost more. So what happens is landlord exclusivity agreements, they'll supply a block like an apartment building or a condo building with cut rate, much lower cost plans in order for them to be exclusive on that. Like our HOA had that has that, and our internet went way down. Banning excessive early termination fees is, I think, again, you just open up the markets by getting rid of the red tape that makes it harder to have more competition. That problem takes care of itself. And again, the same thing with the clear disclosure of plan costs. But that last one's probably going to end up making things cost more, because it's those exclusivity agreements that cause them to give lower prices. But we'll see.
So yes and no, because like where I used to live in Gulfport, Florida, you could only get one company. I don't remember which company that is now, but you can only get one company. And when I first moved here, I was like, okay, let me call. And I asked them how much it was just for internet. And they quoted me, and I was like, that seems really high. And so they're like, yeah, sorry, that's just what the price is. And I was like, what if I lived in St. Pete? And they said, nope, still what the price is. So I called back and I said, hey, I'm setting up a new account. And I gave them a random St. Pete address. And they said, oh, okay. And it was much lower because you had options.
Right. But is that because of landlord exclusivity arrangements or because of who was providing in that area?
That was a city exclusivity.
Oh, yeah. No, city exclusivity. If they're negotiating with the government, they're not getting a better price. So that's fair. That's not.
That's fair.
Yeah. But landlord exclusivity. If that means referring to, I mean, the only reason the landlord's going to take an exclusivity arrangement is because the cost is lower. So, but yeah, I mean, the rest I'm not as worried about. This next one actually doesn't sound terrible.
Except this is going to up the price of airline tickets.
Make it easier for people to get refunds from airline. It's just saying.
Make it easier for.
It's
make it easier for.
Not, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Make it easier for people to get refunds from airlines and to comparison shop for flights by requiring clear upfront disclosure of add-on fees.
But they do.
I don't know how easy it is to get refunded.
I mean, I've had to do it a few times and I've not had any issues. So, I mean, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've never had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean, the thing is, you can't. The refunds are typically for a reason, unless you pay for the insurance. That's why we always get the insurance, because it's easier to get refunds. And also, so like what just happened, we're coming back from Mississippi. They canceled our flight, and so that the insurance covered our hotel and our transportation to and from the hotel for that reason. Which, by the way, everyone, go ahead and pay for the insurance when you get it. It's just like anywhere from $15 to $40 more, and it's more than worth it. Where are some other things?
Making it easier and cheaper to repair items you own by limiting manufacturers from barring self-repairs or third-party repairs of their products. I like that. I like that.
That's the right to repair thing, right?
Yeah, that's the right to repair thing.
As long
if you
as
get something,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say only if it also stops governments from requiring a license to do self-repairs, because there are many city and state governments that won't let you do self-repair without the licensing. So if they have that in there too, I'm not that worried about it.
Right? Yeah. No. Agreed. Yeah, like the Tesla thing where you could replace it or repair it for like $600, but they charge you like $5,000 or whatever it is. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Make it easier and cheaper to switch banks by requiring banks to allow customers to take their financial transaction data with them to a competitor.
They already do that.
Do them?
When I switch banks, they did. So maybe some don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't switched banks in like 15 years. So I did not know. And usually when I switched banks, it was because I had no money in one of them. So I didn't really need to worry about it.
Yeah.
Empower family farmers, increase their incomes by strengthening the Department of Agriculture's tools to stop abusive practices of some meat processors.
Pass the Prime Act, and that doesn't even matter.
Pass what?
The Prime Act. We talked about it on the show a while back.
Right,
Thomas Massey introduced it. If farmers were able to negotiate directly to have meat to process their meat and have it taken directly to the consumer instead of having to go through the processor distributor store plan that is mandated by federal law right now, none of this would matter. There wouldn't be abusive practices because there'd be a million meat processors out there.
Right. Increase opportunities for small businesses by directing all federal agencies to promote greater competition through their procurement and spending decisions.
They've been saying that for decades. That's not going to happen.
The order also encourages the leading antitrust agencies to focus enforcement efforts on problems in key markets and coordinates other agencies' ongoing response to corporate consolidation. The order calls for the leading antitrust agencies, the Department of Justice, FTC, to enforce the antitrust laws vigorously. I don't know why. Forget I did that. Forget I did the rest of this. But the hearing aid one was the big one for me, because actually I want to pull up that thing because I want to read to you what he said, and I can't believe that I was dumb and didn't put it in here. Maybe I didn't put it in the notes. Man, I am doing just
a request for a refresh.
Man, I wasn't going to do that to you yet.
Yeah, we were going to.
I've already eaten the 1500.
Yeah.
Okay.
You surpassed the 1500.
All right, now you're at 1600. But these are now $200 increments.
$200 increments.
You're good till.
But he still has to eat for the 1500, right?
No, he said he already did that.
I just ate that one.
Oh, okay.
So I saw it personally, but to have it updated for the viewers.
Hearing
your face is getting like red.
It's like red and pale at the same time.
It's like glowing.
Yeah, so for the hearing aid thing, labor markets, healthcare, Hearing aids. Hearing aids are so expensive that only 14% of the approximate 48 million Americans with hearing loss use them. On average, they cost more than $5,000 per pair, and these costs are often not covered by health insurance. I didn't know that. A major driver, I don't know if it's true, but they're saying it, so I'm reading it. A major driver of the expense is that consumers must get them from a doctor or a specialist, even though experts agree that medical evaluation is not necessary. Rather, this requirement serves only as red tape and a barrier to more companies selling hearing aids. The 4 largest hearing aid manufacturers now control 84% of the market, and then some other stuff. What he's saying is to lower the regulations and allow more companies to make these things and to get it out from behind the counter so you don't have to go through a doctor to get it. You can do that with so many things. Do that with birth control.
Yep.
Do that with
They should have been done that with birth control. Like that
Did you say they should have been done that?
They should have been done that. This is a 2/3 South Carolinian show today, so I get to say things like been done.
That's right. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. They should have been done that. Yeah, no, they should have done that. And they should have done that with hearing aids. And they should have done that with so many other things that I can't think of off the top of my head, because hearing or birth control was the only one that really popped into my head as something at that moment. Like Ashley Greer Smooth says, do it with literally everything. I wouldn't do it with literally everything. I don't feel that all drugs need, like insulin. Do you need insulin to be? Shouldn't you need a prescription to get that?
I think it should be up to the suppliers and so forth to decide it. I don't think that should be a government thing. But so if someone couldn't afford to see a doctor but was able to manage their diabetes through insulin and being able to, check their own, so that I'll tell you something. Actually, no, I would think diabetic supplies would probably be something that I would say I mean, ideally, yes, you should be seeing a doctor, multiple doctors if you have diabetes, and seeing an endo and seeing, who else is involved with diabetes? Definitely an endo and maybe others as well. But if you can't afford it, but you've been able to learn to manage your numbers by using insulin and, your test strips and all that, I think most, if not all, things should be.
I would say most, but I'm certain, like, there's got to be a few things out there that I would have to be like, I don't think that should just be over the counter.
I mean, so for example, my treatment for MS is incredibly expensive and relatively scarce. I think at the very least they're not going to want to, or they shouldn't be giving it out to people who don't have. I think the only things that it's effective for are MS and certain types of Crohn's disease. And if you don't have that, then you're wasting the supply of a product, and potentially you're risking yourself, because if you have certain viruses or immune disorders and stuff, you shouldn't be using it. But again, if someone wants to take that risk and they're willing to buy the product, which just increases the demand for it, which in theory reduces the price for it through increased supply. I mean, it's hard, like I said, ideally this would all be governed by a combination of market actions and supplier and provider policy. Right. But just the question of should it be, I don't know. I think diabetic supplies possibly. Yeah, I think that would possibly qualify.
And so like Cajun Libertarian, check him out on Fridays. Here on Muddied Waters Media, yes, with the Eskimo. He says he gets his insulin with Walmart
on Fridays.
Yeah, they're on Fridays now.
Oh, okay, on Fridays. Okay, cool.
Cajun had a lot on his plate, and he had to cut down some days for family time and stuff.
No problem.
Yeah, no, get it. So we're going to be a Monday through Friday show, Monday through Friday.
I like it. Yeah. Monday through Friday.
But he says he gets his insulin with Walmart, no prescription, can't afford a doctor. So he can go and get it.
If I could piggyback off of this real quick. So Cajun sent instead of using the GoFundMe link, he sent $30 and he said, me as the Mr. Bearded Truth have to tell the truth that I have the best beard. And so I want to thank you for the donation. We'll add that to the column. And I will continue to tell the truth. I appreciate it very much, Cajun. It's what it said verbatim. I don't know how else to read that.
Oh, I bet I figured out a way, but but no, thank you, Cajun. Definitely, we appreciate it. Thanks for helping out. But yeah, no, like I do believe in right to try. Like you should be in control of your medication.
Yeah, and I liked right to repair. You know, I was less horrified by those proposals, although I think some of them are possibly unnecessary. And some I hope that we read correctly, like the one about state and tribal programs that import safe and cheaper drugs. I hope that just means states and tribes that are letting people do that.
Right.
I see no problem with that.
I see no problem with it. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there, and we hit Joe Biden a lot.
We hit Trump
and if he's gonna, we did. We hit Trump a lot. But whenever they do something good, I want to say it. And well, we don't know what this is going to be, how these are going to be written, how these are going to be enforced. If some of these, if they come out the way that they are written, good on them. Like I'm not upset about some of these. If they go the way that we have the way that I read them.
And I'm even reading the part about the antitrust stuff. It sounds like a lot of nothing. It sounds like it's to enforce the antitrust laws vigorously and recognize the law allows them to challenge prior bad mergers. I think this is a lot of saber rattling. I don't think this is really going to end in any real breakups of any type of thing. Honestly, I'm less concerned about breaking up of monopolies than I am of getting rid of the policies that led to those monopolies in the first place. If you know Jeff Bezos is forced to break up Amazon and or I guess break up his larger company of Amazon, Blue Origin, MGM, whatever. I mean, it's not that huge of a deal to me. I'm more concerned about getting rid of the policies that led to the creation of those types of gigantic monopolies in the first place. If they can direct federal agencies, if they can really have more greater competition through their procurement and spending decisions, great. They've been saying that. I don't think there's ever been an administration in our lifetime that has not said that they're going to make the federal agencies be more transparent and have more competition in their procurement and spending decisions. And then it doesn't happen. Right. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But some of this stuff, or at least a good bit of this stuff, is not terrible, at least the way it's written. Right.
So, well, we're going to have to see how all of it turns out. It was an executive order, and these are, the alphabet organizations that are going to be putting it through. So, grain of salt with all of it. But if they go through the way that I read them, I'm not against all of them.
It's not bad.
If he's trying to open up the market and make things cheaper and more available for people and more accessible for people, then good on him. The way that he was describing the hearing aids was a free market solution.
Yeah, no, that was 100%. Yeah, that was literally just get government out of the way. At least as it was written. Now,
at least how it was written. 184
things have been written to sound free market, and then it ends up being the creation of an agency to whatever. But at least the way it was written, a good bit of that was good. And even the part that was kind of making me cringe, that sounds mostly like a bunch of nothing burger to appease the anti-corporation base of his party. While also making it clear to the corporations that fund his party that there's not going to be any real change here. What I wouldn't be surprised is if they go after large companies that aren't donating at least 50% to Democrats. Those are the ones that suddenly get picked for breakups or greater scrutiny of their consolidation and stuff like that. But we'll see. We'll see when it comes down to it. But I'll tell you something else that isn't terrible on its face, guys. Well, first of all, let's do a quick update here. We're at 1616. Jack Casey donated $11, so you can add another drink of milk.
Yeah,
to the
I already
tally.
got it.
You got it in there. Okay,
I'm
cool.
watching. Yeah, I'm watching it come in on my screen over here, so I'm keeping updated.
How are you feeling, Jason?
He has 4 drinks of milk left right now.
How do you feel, Jason?
Well, I just got fact checked, and so that hurt. So I thought I was eating a jalapeno because I thought it was gonna be nice and cool. And it was spicy. And then I was just informed that it was a Serrano that I ate. So we're not climbing down the scale at all. It's hot and spicy in my mouth right now. I don't know what to do with my hands. No,
I've just been surprised you haven't weighed in at all, and I'm thinking it's because you're overwhelmed by the spice.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not surprised he hasn't weighed in at all. I've been kind of waiting for him to like kick in, but then I look at his face and I'm like, he may not speak this episode.
I am. Yeah. No. So the stuff that's going through my head right now is like, I'm like, that's a great point. My face is on fire. Hey, my eyes are watering.
Yeah.
Because folks,
it's amazing.
Anyone,
go ahead.
Elsie says she's never seen you this quiet.
I know, right? Like on live on TV. So, folks, for those who have never seen, tune in Mondays is it at 8?
It's now going to be at 8 p.m. Freedom Time Eastern.
Okay. Mondays at 8 American time, as opposed to Marxist time. At 8 p.m. Eastern, Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Muddy Waters Media, is Mr. America, the Bearded Truth with Jason Lyon. He usually is not this demure. He usually is much more outspoken, and I was expecting a little bit more, but I think he's just a little bit. He's just taking a moment. Sarah Anderegg in full,
Sarah has some really good advice for you in the comments.
Full Jewish mom mode. Sarah Anderegg, when you go pee, don't touch your penis. Which this is the voice of a Jewish mother here. I can even hear it. Oh gosh, don't touch your penis.
Don't.
Oh,
you know,
please.
you only make that mistake once.
All right.
I mean,
People
that's
are
true.
asking for the Carolina Reapers. So I want to clarify. So we started off the night at $790. So I'm going to round that up to $800 just to have a nice round even number. So at $1,000, so it'll be at $1,800. I'll be eating the habaneros at every 200 intervals at $2,800 on the GoFundMe.
Man.
I will be eating this, so let me go through some of the spices in here real quick for anyone. I can't pronounce that one. I can't pronounce that one. Jolokia peppers, scorpion peppers, reaper peppers. So it's gonna be a little bit hotter than ghost peppers and reapers. So we will get that at $2,800. I'm scared to say that. I will say, but I'm looking forward to it as well.
And then at $5,800, he's going to eat a chip. What is that? Potato chip?
This is from Jack Casey.
Don't tread on me. I love it. I love it.
Don't bite on me.
Don't bite on me. I like it. So yes, at $5,800, I will be eating this, which I realize is really small and out of focus, but it is called The End Flatline Hot Sauce. If you look it up, it is 7 million units on the Scoville chart. 7 million. Like I opened it and smelled it, and it hurt my face. Like,
and to put that in perspective, the hottest pepper is Smokin' Ed's Carolina Reaper, which is 2.2 million Scoville units. So this is more than 3 times hotter than the hottest.
Well, Scovilles
pepper.
are not a what is it? They are an exponential growth. So it is by magnitudes.
Oh, really?
Hotter, I believe so.
Well, that's.
I will fact check that.
What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
So, do you know what else is hot and spicy?
Yes.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds.
The personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment, where you can go to anchor.fm/muddied waters to leave us messages. There's a message button. You can leave us messages, and we will play them right here during the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment. And then also you can press the donate button, and you can become one of our regular donators and help raise money for the types of things that you're watching right now, like a grown man suffering. You do not have to make a donation to be able to leave a message or for us to listen to your message or play it here, but we will like you more.
That's true. And in fact, if you are thinking about donating to us today, don't go to the fundraiser down here and donate to that instead.
Yes, be sure to donate to that instead. And our first question, we're gonna get some weigh-in from Jason too, because he has had a little bit of a break, so he's gonna get to talk now. Hopefully, if he feels up to it. Is from Stephen Witt. Why is that not playing? Oh, for God's sake! Hold on.
Real quick on my fact check while you get that going. So
Sure.
not that it's an exponential growth, but it is.
Okay.
There's an equation and something like there's a multiplication factor to it.
So it's not just 3 times more. It's like more than 3 times more.
It's 3 times more. We'll count it as that.
Okay.
For simplicity's sake.
Okay, that's fair.
So 1.5 million to 3 million is most law enforcement grade pepper spray, and this is 7 million.
So it's worse than Thomas's suggestion of having just eating a pepper spray.
Yeah,
That's
Carolina Reapers are also between 1.5 and 3.
Wow. All right, I'm going over to another browser so that I can.
So yeah, we're for anybody who doesn't know why we're doing this, there is a family in need, and we as voluntarists really believe in helping people out whenever we can. And since we are a community who believes in helping people out, and sometimes in the most idiotic ways possible, our dear friend and brother Jason Lyon selflessly volunteered himself to pain himself, to just put himself through all kinds of pain for the next week, I'm guessing.
Yep.
And as we are raising money, he is eating peppers, hotter and hotter peppers. Every $200 will lead to Jason eating the next hot pepper. If we get to $1,500,
once we get to $1,800.
1,800. Once we get to $1,800, he will be eating habaneros every $200 until we reach 2,000. And at 2,000, that's when Jason starts getting the good stuff. So while you are sitting there in the comments section, you're watching us, you're watching Jason suffer, throw in a Finsky or something, just toss in whatever. Don't go to Starbucks for the next week and take that money and throw it to Jason here, because
They like to see me quiet.
Yeah, who doesn't enjoy watching the bearded truth sit there speechless? Also, Jason, I have to say, while you're not incapacitated by capsaicin, your show last night was fantastic.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
It was like the new format you are doing. I love it. Absolutely love it. And you did a civil asset forfeiture last night, did a deep dive on that. Roughly an hour?
It was about 40 minutes. So The Muddy Waters normal plan of, hey, I'm gonna run a show for X amount of time. Of course, we ran over. So my plan was to run it for about 20 to 30 minutes. So 40 minutes is right on time.
Great. But lots of great information. It is up on Anchor. You're welcome. It is it's up on Anchor. So you can find it on all your favorite podcasting platforms. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, it's on Twitch. It's on some other places, I'm certain. So you guys should I already did that.
Okay.
You guys should check it out. It was fantastic. Stephen Wett says he learned a lot. Kenny Johnson says awesome show. Eskimo Libertarian says, I hope to sound as knowledgeable as you. She says this to the man intentionally putting himself through pain.
Yes.
So imagine how good he sounded last night.
Yeah, really. She she kills animals and eats them, but I guess that she causes them pain as opposed to Jason, who causes himself pain.
Right.
So here, let's try it now. I think we should be able to hear it now.
Okay.
Nope. Oh, good. What on earth is going on? Let's see. Hold on. I bet I can.
So I have to eat another pepper, but we're
Yes, you do.
$87 away from the first habanero. So should I wait for this question to eat, or should I give them some
go ahead
show
and have
while,
it, because I don't know what's happening right now.
Oh, good. Spike is. Do you see how Spike is encouraging me to eat these? I want to point that out to everyone. This is
Your idea? Yeah, no, this is definitely your idea. Why is that happening?
all right. So I don't want to eat the jalapeno now.
But we believe in you.
We believe in you. It's going to be better or something.
I agree it would be better, and so that's why I don't want to do it. How many seeds are in you? How many seeds are in you? All right. There's.
I might be able to get it on my end.
Hold on,
Give
let's
me
try it
one.
one more time. I think hopefully this reset it. No. The only way I think I can do this is to also lose. Hold on, I think we're going to temporarily lose the fundraiser link so I can Let's try that. No, let's try it. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
I just want to say I appreciate that, Steve. Steve South said, it's at times like this that I wish I had money. Not to make anyone suffer, but for the cause. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you. Yeah, I can't get it to work, so.
Can you hear me still?
I can.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me know if you can hear this.
No.
Can you? No.
The question is, what kind of pepper was that? I am not sure. I went to a farmer's market, and I said I would like to know where your spicy peppers are, and they gave me a bunch of different them. So some of these I have no idea. This one was like a chili style pepper, but not a chili pepper. This one's got a lot of seeds too. They were bundled up. While Spike and Matt are running through the
just play it
typical
on your
Muddy
phone.
Waters show
Yeah, just
issues.
Go ahead, Jason.
Nope. I've got to take a moment. But no, I really do want to say thank you guys. As what we had spoken about earlier, this family is one that's well known within the Muddy Waters community, and this cause of really, I mean, I might get in trouble with this family for saying this, but there's court cases that there are winners and losers because one family is unfit. There's court cases in which one family is not a good fit for another. But in this circumstance, it is not a matter of any of that, but just merely a matter of them being able to continue this fight. And so I could not imagine
Left and Spike Cohen for.
Go ahead. Sorry, it's going to work now. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I could not imagine how each one of those family members are feeling going through this, and so I wanted to take this opportunity. I'm so glad that Spike and Matt wanted to see me suffer as well as help.
No,
Spike did not want to.
Idea.
Spike did not want to.
Your
Spike
idea.
absolutely did not want to. Matt was Switzerland on this.
Matt liked
he was okay
it.
with
Matt
it.
Wanted this. Matt was happy about this. Yeah.
I enjoy, like, when my friends, as everybody knows, I'm a recovering addict. So
is this are we calling we're pulling the recovering addict card now?
Yes, I'm a recovering addict. And when I was drinking or, doing other things, one of my favorite things was listening to somebody go, I bet I can do this. And I would be the guy that went, bet you can.
Yeah.
And now that I hang out with people who are sober, these moments don't come up often. So I finally get that opportunity to get people to do this. When I get that opportunity, I'm like, yeah, you should do it. You should do it. I want to watch this because it gets me giddy like a child. And I just get all excited about it.
Okay.
So, yes. So, I was excited to be able to do this for this family, and I know that they were too. And of course, when I brought this idea up to Matt, as he just, as he just spoke about, was excited about this idea, and I like a good challenge, and so I want you guys to be able to break me today for this family because we all believe in this cause. And we of course love to see families whole and our
friends suffer
and see
and the suffering of our loved ones. Yeah.
No,
we agree with all of that, especially the suffering part. I did get it to work, so here's our first question from Stephen Witt.
Hello, guy on left and Spike Cohen for the Chris Reynolds attorney at law anchor call-in moment. I just want to get y'all's feeling on Title 56, Chapter 2, Article 1 of the South Carolina Legislature, low-speed vehicles, about not being able to drive your golf cart past dusk in South Carolina. And just the overall law altogether, I think it's pretty ridiculous. So I just want to get your take on it. I saw this post from the North Myrtle Beach government Facebook page.
Yeah.
And Spike, I know you live a little bit up on that end, so just want to hear your take on it. Hope you guys have a great weekend in Tunica, Mississippi. Too bad I'm not able to attend, so I will talk with you guys later. Peace out. God bless.
Well,
Jason,
God
what are
bless
your
you too,
thoughts?
I think that you guys need to refresh.
Oh, I just did.
My thoughts is that absolutely we need to be protecting of these ducks, and clearly driving golf carts past them puts them in imminent danger, and yes. So we have to waste the turtles, the taxpayer money in order. Yes, turtles as well. We have to waste taxpayer money to write legislation, get it passed, and it's for the good of the environment. Darn it.
Yeah. As someone who has been breaking this rule since I was 13 years old, I think it's very necessary to protect the turtles and the ducks and the tourists. I think it's the fact that these golf carts have lights on them and they're usually bright white and you can see them a mile away and they go 20 miles an hour, and there's really no conceivable reason of any way whatsoever why this should not be allowed. And the concept of dusk is just vague enough to allow for disproportionate and selective enforcement. It's definitely necessary, like Jason said. And now,
right.
Now we get to watch this
Jason.
shit. There we go. Tell us what this is, Jason, before you eat this.
So this is the first of presumably many habaneros. I might still have the Scoville, the chart up. Yeah. Which, just to put this into perspective,
It's 100,000 to 300. No, go ahead.
Yeah, 100,000 to 350,000 Scoville heat units. So multiply that times a bajillion roughly, and you'll get that hot sauce that we may potentially be seeing later on tonight.
20.
You have six drinks of milk stored up, so
I love you all. I love you, the people of Muddied Waters. I love you. I have an entire gallon of milk sitting here, ready,
and a pack of hamburger buns too. I'm told.
Yes. I've got some hamburger buns.
Yeah, so where I live, there's tons of golf carts, and if somebody were to say, "Hey, let's ban them from the road," I wouldn't be that upset, only because I hate getting stuck behind one of them going 20 miles an hour. But I don't think that we should be banning them from the road.
So where I live, there are actually golf cart paths.
Oh, are there?
So it makes no sense whatsoever to ban them because they literally have their own roads. Like,
but who built them?
Probably the golf courses. Honestly, I don't think that they're managed by the city, by the county. I don't think they're public. Well, they're public, but I don't believe that they're county roads, because they're also golf cart paths, so I don't think they have to get paved as often, because they're mostly walked on with the occasional golf cart going over them. So here's the next one from Matt Hicks.
Oh, these are from Saturday.
Oh. Okay.
Well, hello there, Guy on left and Spike and the Cajun Libertarian. So This is Matt Hicks calling in on the, I assume it's probably still the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, Anchor Calling Moment TM. So in the news today, apparently, recently, the United States has finally decided that we're done with Afghanistan. And the country's on the verge of falling to the Taliban again. Who knew that the graveyard of empires would be no place for us to succeed in a militaristic adventure? What the hell? Hashtag Laser Legend.
So, Jason, what are your thoughts on Afghanistan?
So I could barely breathe right now. But yeah, I would love for this to actually occur. But I mean, we've seen what? We've seen Trump promises. We've seen Obama promises. We've seen them declare this. We've seen them promise to take action and put deadlines down. I'm wondering if if there's any validity to the idea that maybe, just maybe, it will just be a show again. This is so difficult.
I mean, that's an excellent point. Pain in excruciating pain, Jason.
Kelsey Lyon just said Jason explaining politics while drunk on hot peppers may be my new favorite thing.
Yeah.
I think that the Taliban recently met with Russia I believe I saw this article. I thought about throwing it in this week, but the thing we're going to get to in a little bit came up. But I think that the Taliban has control of 70% of Afghanistan now, is what they're saying.
They've effectively had control of most of Afghanistan for quite some time.
For a while.
Yeah, they just haven't been exerting it, but they've had the numbers for quite some time. It was always understood that the Taliban was going to take over in Afghanistan. What concerns me is that there's all this stuff from corporate media about how all the incredible gains that have been made in Afghanistan for women's rights and minority rights that are all going to be thrown away if the Taliban takes over. Now, forgetting the fact that the country has been run by child grooming totalitarians and drug cartels for the entire time that the U.S. has been there. The Taliban is certainly no good actor either. But the reality is, and honestly, I think the Taliban wants us there. I think the reason that the Taliban is, trying to, go to Russia and do everything they can to try to stir things up, I think they kind of want the U.S. to stay there, because once the U.S. isn't there, they don't have a boogeyman anymore. And, it's now going to be a situation where it's no longer, well, you're either with us or you're with the occupiers. Now it's, no, you're either with us or you can not be with us and be against,
right,
and not be supporting a foreign occupation. So, that's what Jason's saying too.
Right.
Here's the next one from Matt. Yeah.
Hey again, Guy on Left and Spike and Cajun Libertarian. This is Matt Hicks once again on the erstwhile personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, Anchor Calling Moment, TM. Matt! I'm drunk and I need to know why you guys in Florida got buildings falling down. Like, what the hell? Like, seriously, what the hell, dude? What the hell? Hashtag Laser Legend.
Yeah, Matt, what's with something why did that happen? Why is that?
Yeah, I was wondering. I was wondering that myself. Why did that building fall down? He is talking about the building in the condo building in Surfside, where the middle of it just seemed to collapse, and they had to stop looking for the missing and the bodies because a hurricane was coming. A lot of the reason that building fell down was because it was old. It was built on sand, which, look, I'm not a religious person, but I believe there's a Bible parable about building a house on rock versus building it on sand. And they tell you not to do one of those things.
Yes, in fact, it says, therefore, everyone who hears these words. Yeah, it's from Matthew 7. It's from Matt. It's from Matt 7, the book of Matt, chapter 7. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down and the streams rose. Why is the Jew reading this? And the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall because it had a foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine does not put them into practice is like the foolish man in Surfside, Florida, who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. That's your Bible moment.
That's my Bible moment. Yeah, right there.
Muddy Waters Bible moment.
I realized where I knew that from halfway through saying that, and I was like, I didn't learn that from the Bible. I learned that from a movie. But it's called Life is a House. It stars Hayden Christensen and that guy who's a good actor, whose name I'm blanking on. What is his name? Why am I blanking on this? I like that guy too.
Kevin Kline?
Kevin Kline. Yeah. Great movie. Great movie. So they did that. They built it on sand, which isn't good. And then they kind of fudged some of the building permits and then paid people off. And they were supposed to have an inspection. And the guy went, hey, this is probably going to fall down soon and you should do this. And they paid him off. And he went, okay. So there were a lot of issues with that, and there were a lot of problems with that entire scenario. There were a lot of problems with that entire scenario, but the main issue was people trying to just not fix things that needed to be fixed, and then a government agency accepting a bribe to look the other way. And then it fell down a week later.
But everyone thought that it was fine because it had the government seal of approval.
The seal of approval, right.
Yes.
And for anybody who has heard this, no, John McAfee did not have an apartment or a condo in that building. Have you not heard this rumor?
I have.
Yeah, there was an internet rumor that John McAfee had a condo in that condo building because of a doctored tweet that said that he had a condo there, and people were like, "Oh my goodness, like that's why it fell down. The government blew it up." No, he did not have a condo in that building.
Wasn't the accusation also that condo had one of his servers which had all the information, or like a good portion of it?
Right. That's why they said that it fell down. No, none of that was true.
That'd be kind of cool if it was true, though.
It would be kind of cool. I was really excited when I heard the rumor, and then I looked into it.
It turned out no, not so much.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's the next one from Matt Laser Legend Hicks.
Dude, guy on left and Cajun Libertarian and Spike. This is Matt Hicks calling in on the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor calling moment. TM. Let's talk about real estate for a minute. Bro, shit's about to get lively, man. Like, my wife and I just refinanced our house because who the hell could say no to these ridiculous interest rates, and we wanted to go to a 15-year instead of a 30-year mortgage. We had to get our house appraised, and it appreciated 14% in like a couple of years. That's what? And I live in rural nowhere. What? Talk about this. This is a disaster waiting to happen. Hashtag Laser Legend.
Yeah, for anybody who is watching this show and you're 13, go to bed. Or don't. I don't really care. You're not my kid. But you probably don't remember 2008 very much. Some bad stuff happened. And a lot of that was because of government. And it started back in the 90s. It actually started long before that, but we're going to do the abridged version. Back in the 90s, Bill Clinton put somebody in charge of housing and urban development. God, what was it? I don't remember right now. He put somebody in charge of loans, and he's like, we're going to give out loans to people who you guys normally wouldn't give loans to, people with low credit scores, people with bad payment histories. I was in real estate for a while, and I saw somebody with a 300 credit score get a loan. Yeah, Jason's face says it all. I will say that dude never missed a payment, though, so good on him. Great guy. I love that guy. But they said, we're going to give out loans to everybody. And they did. And they gave out these balloon loans where you started out with no interest rate or a very low interest rate that would balloon to like 15 to 28% or whatever after 3 years. And people did not understand what was happening. And then their payments were jumping from, $700, $800 a month to thousands of dollars. And they just went, can't afford it, walking away. And they walked away, which led to the short sale in the foreclosure market. You're seeing a lot of the exact same things starting to happen right now. And when you add in the inflation that you've seen from people getting free money, not having to do any work, they're just getting money from the government for the last year. People are like, oh, I can afford this. plus the fact that Biden is now being pressured to put somebody in that same office, which I don't remember which office it is right now because I wasn't planning on talking about this, that will give loans, that will push loan officers to give loans to people who normally would not be approved for loans. You are looking at the exact same thing that happened back in 2008. And
Except
everybody says 2008.
much worse.
Much worse. Now, everybody keeps saying 2008, but it actually started roughly 2006, 2005, 2006, depending on where you lived. 2008 was just the culmination of all of it. And we're in the 2020s, and I have a prediction that we might be seeing a 100-year reunion of the Depression because of decisions being made in spending and loan giving.
I would not be surprised if you're right. Part of what's also happening is people have discovered this new trick to be able to make cash offers, because right now in the bull market that we have, in the sellers market we have, sellers can sit back and just wait for just a cash offer. And the thing is, a cash offer is better for the seller because they don't have to wait for the person to get approved with a mortgage. They know the cash is there. It's been verified that it's there. And so after they do their due diligence, the inspections and all that stuff, then they just sell the house or condo or whatever it is and get the cash. So that's always preferable to someone who has to get a loan. So what people are doing who have any kind of equity, they are going out and getting cash, either through getting a second mortgage on their existing home, or a home equity line of credit, or unsecured line of credit, whatever ways that they can get cash. They get a bunch of cash, and that way they can make a cash offer, but they're still taking out a loan. And those loans, unlike mortgages, aren't structured to be amortized out over 30 years or 15 years or whatever else. They're loans that you got to start paying off immediately at a higher rate, and this is a massive disaster that's going to happen. And all of the stimulus spending, and we are at effectively negative interest rates once you factor in inflation. So the reality is that all of the stimulus that they could do has already been done. And because government is what it is, they're not going to tighten the belt and lower spending as a result of what's coming. They're going to massively increase spending. They're going to probably do what Europe did a while back and introduce real, actual negative interest rate loans, which is just going to make everything worse. Oh, and also, if you thought that the bailouts of 2008 were already dwarfed by the bailouts of 2020, the bailouts we're about to get, and when I say we, I mean you're going to pay for, and the big banks and Wall Street and the insurance companies and the mortgage companies and developers are going to get, you have seen nothing yet. We are looking at tens of trillions, possibly as much as $100 trillion that is going to be run up in debt in your names and your children's names and their children's names and their children's names, that are going to be run up in debt to bail out these companies. And you're then going to deal with a roughly 10-year period of just people not being able to make ends meet. This is really, really bad. And the fact that they're probably going to use this to push UBI, which is going to lead to permanent structural double-digit inflation, it's scary what's going to happen if we don't make a major course correction. And that will, of course, mean having to vote Libertarian, because there's not going to be, the Republicans nor Democrats are going to fix this. That no one is going to everyone wants to just keep kicking this increasingly, burning can down the road.
Yeah, no, and this can is only getting more destructive every time that they kick it as well.
Right.
And so like this pain is going to be insurmountable eventually. And hopefully the government fails before the people do, of course. But there's also when you're talking about the inflation, of course, we had the generic printing of and creating of money, which we saw at an incredible rate this last year. I'm really proud of myself for having this cognitive ability right now.
Yeah, I was
I'm
going to say
shocked.
what's going to happen to the economy is similar to what's happening to Jason right now as he becomes increasingly hot and on fire and inflamed.
Yeah, so the Federal Reserve last year printing 1 out of 3 of all the currency ever made from government. 1/3 of it was made just last year. I mean, the inflation rate from last year is incredible. And so compound that with, as you guys were talking about, like the expenditures of what government's looking to spend, the money that it doesn't have, the interest rates on everything else, the givings and everything else. I mean, I remember 6 years ago when people were complaining we were at $20 trillion in debt because Obama just wanted to run up the debt. Trump comes in. Was it 6 years ago? I guess it was. Yeah, a little longer.
Five something years ago.
5 years.
Yeah.
We've been a show for 5 years.
Yeah. So then Trump comes in, runs it up 8 more trillion. So now we're at 28 trillion right now. I think 40 is going to be coming up pretty soon based on everything that we've seen. And there's eventually going to be a tipping point just on that market, just on that scale of what happens when everybody who's owed money from the government, what happens when they say check, please.
Yeah. It's going to be great for crypto, but pretty much everyone else, not so much. Yeah. So I guess all I would say is if and when UBI kicks in, because that's going to be the next thing. When you
that's
see
what they're going for.
It's the baseline is $2,000 a month, and the reason for that is because that's what Bernie Sanders demanded the end of last year was $2,000 a month permanently. You're going to be looking at $2,500 to $3,000 a month per person. And for those of you saying, wow, that's great, wait till you see what everything costs about a year later. That first year is going to be fun, and then it's not going to be fun. For example, remember when you thought it was fun that you were getting, $1,200 and $600 and $1,400, and now the price of everything is outstripping anything that you got, and you're seeing the debt that you've been handed? Wait till that's every month.
Should have invested in lumber.
And crypto. Yeah, get Woodcoin. So let's see here. So and of course, billionaires have been getting UBI this whole time. Here's one more from Matt Hicks.
Bros. Just bros, check this out. Listen.
I love how he just gets progressively more drunk as this goes on. Anyway,
at least he addressed me properly this time.
He sent these in like 8 minutes.
Listen, so as I'm sure you're aware, some dudes executed some dude in Haiti, right? It's an old thing. It's on the news.
This is how you're...
Some of these dudes that executed the dude in Haiti are claiming ties to a Miami area security company. Is anyone even remotely fucking surprised that a U.S. security company, which probably has ties to the U.S. government, has people that probably have ties to it, who probably killed the fucking Haitian president? Hashtag Laser Legend.
So I think they arrested the main guy today. He was Florida man. He was Florida man. He was a man living here in Florida. I believe he was a Haitian refugee that was working at the security company, and he was the guy that they say was the mastermind behind the whole thing. I have not looked too deeply into this. I know that when they went there and assassinated the president, they claimed to be DEA.
I'm looking up this guy. So his name is, he's a Florida-based, looks like a Haitian pastor.
Right.
His name is Christian Emmanuel Sagnon, a Haiti-born 62-year-old who's been living in Florida for more than 2 decades, and he's a pastor. Yeah, it looks like I don't. So here's my thing, and Jason and Matt, I'm more than interested to hear your thoughts on this. Haiti is such a mess that I don't even know who I believe at all from any of this. Like, it could be very possible that this Senon guy has just been critical of the Haitian government, and so they killed the president for some other reason and then pinned it on this guy and said, yeah, he's the one behind it. Like, there's so much corruption. Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea what to believe on this at all.
No, I have no clue what to believe on this. And it's something we're never going to get an answer to. I saw a bunch, JP Stevens in the comments said CIA at it again. Sure. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no clue. All I know is that they arrested a guy who is based in Florida.
Yeah, and so the pastor's claiming he's been duped by people claiming to represent the U.S. State and Justice Departments who wanted to install him as president. Senon had believed the plan was to arrest but not kill Moise, the former president who was killed. But again, Haiti has been falling apart for decades. The Clintons did the coup de grace back in the 90s and then again in the 2000s, and it's just been a mess. I mean, it's been, it's put in perspective. Haiti, when there is any kind of tropical storm, they suffer exponentially worse than any other country in the Caribbean, largely because they don't have any trees because they had to cut them all down for heat. Like, you can't, like, there's no real perspective on how screwed up things are in Haiti. Like, they literally ran out of trees because they needed heating wood. They rely almost entirely on aid from foreign governments. The entire there's a section of Haiti that had a pretty, I forget what it's called now, but it's in the North Shore. That is where their tourism in, which is the other half of their economy, and that's done very well. Except when COVID hit, all that shut down. And so they've had essentially no economy for the better part of a year. And many of the countries that were giving them foreign aid have had to tighten their belts. So it's just, the country is just in a total shambles. So I have no idea what to think. I really don't. I don't know who to believe, who to trust. I suspect that I don't believe anyone, honestly.
No, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
Concur.
Is that what you were able to manage, was concur?
I should have said I concur.
Yep.
Should have said I concur.
Let's do an update here. We were at so guys, we're kind of stuck at 1941. So if you want to see Jason suck
real
down...
quick to everybody out there, you may not know this, but we'll call it gray band. I'm not sure if we're fully shadow banned or not. So not as many people see our stuff as we used to. So throughout this, if you want to see Jason eat more stuff, you're going to have to share it consistently so new eyes can get on it.
Or refinance your house real quickly.
Or
it's
that.
Up to you.
Right.
Yeah, well,
and apparently it's the right time to do it.
Gray.
So share. That way we can get Jason to eat more peppers, and this family can get the money that they need.
And also share it like on Twitter and other places where like we aren't shadow banned. That can help too.
Right.
Or you can just share the link directly too. You can just share that. GoFundMe. Here, I'll put that in the link in the comments.
It's pinned on Facebook at least.
And so if they want to watch Jason go through the pain, have them, check out the stream.
And I was gonna save this for the end.
Okay.
But no, I'm gonna save it for the end.
Save it for the end.
No, there's something at the end.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
I saw a look of concern on Spike's face that was just,
I'm worried.
What
I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. Yeah.
Jason is already making not good decisions, and making more not good decisions.
He's going
Yeah,
to
and I
continue
wonder,
making not
like-
good decisions.
I wonder if your cognitive abilities are being affected by your like decision making abilities are being affected by the
Pretty sure.
by the Scoville units. So here's the next one from T Marie.
Good evening, everyone. This is Patricia. It is my birthday tonight, and I only have one wish, and that wish is for everyone to donate to Mr. Murica, the Bearded Truce Hot Pepper Challenge tonight. Hopefully, he won't die from ingesting hot foods, but hopefully everybody will be generous enough to let him have some things to help calm down his stomach tonight.
GoFund.me/519CCC22. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Patricia.
Thank you, Patricia.
Here are some questions from Brian. It's actually a thread.
Hey, Spike. It's Brian here. I've had trouble getting in touch with you again today, but I wanted to talk to you about the upcoming trip this weekend. So we had a problem with your hotel for this coming weekend in Florida, but I want you to rest assured I had it all taken care of. You have nothing to worry about. I managed to find a hotel for you that it fits within our budget. I know there was a complaint about bed bugs in the previous room that we had booked. And I called them. I canceled that. There's no way you're staying in a hotel room with bed bugs. So I got you relocated to the next room over. So we got that figured out. Also, the new room has a new air conditioner unit, which is great for Florida in July. The last one broke down after it was hit by a stray bullet, but they got a new one, or rather a new refurbished one. They fixed it up to replace it this past weekend, so that will be good. It's a window unit, but you still have a great view of the city right on the other side of the train yard. It's actually really cool. This train yard goes back like 100 years and is the largest train yard in Florida. Like every freight train goes through here right by the hotel. So it's kind of cool. You can't open the windows. They have them barred shut, and they're actually plated with bulletproof glass, which made me feel a lot better about your safety. So I figured you'd appreciate that. So I was thinking about our budget. So there's not that many amenities. When I was getting the room, there's no continental breakfast here. There's no refrigerator, no microwave, no television, no closet, no deadbolt lock on the door. They have this thing with a bungee cord. Also, you need.
I've stayed in a hotel that there was no lock on the door. But that's another another story for another day.
To make sure you bring your own soap, your own shampoo, and pack a shower curtain. The guy at the counter gave me an inside tip. Also, there's no restaurants or grocery chains anywhere near the place. They're all closed down, at least any that you'd want to go to. And for whatever reason, like Uber Eats and Grubhub won't deliver there. I looked them up. They don't. It's like an area they won't go to. So you should plan to do some shopping and grab some food when you're at the event to bring back with you. I wrote that in your notes on the calendar, so you should be all good.
I think I know the neighborhood he's talking.
There's no shuttle from the hotel to the event you're doing. I was working on securing you a ride. For whatever reason, friggin' taxis won't go here. Probably some stupid law. Who knows, union thing. I can't get any volunteers from the state affiliate to respond to my calls or emails. And I sent them the address. I'm like, can somebody do this? And everybody vanished. But you're not that far away. It's like 25 minutes away. For whatever reason, it's a hassle. But there's a subway station a few blocks away that you can take that goes right by the convention center.
A Florida subway. I'd go to
Florida
that.
subway.
I have all the details on the agenda. You can see everything there. It should be good. So, I know it looked pretty bad a week ago, but I figured you'd feel better now that we got this whole thing squared away. You're in a great place. I feel confident about this, and this is going to be a great weekend. So, talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brian.
This
Florida subway.
This is going to be a great weekend because Spike is going to be the first person ever to ride the Florida subway. an area where I don't know a single person with a basement because they can't dig into the ground, but they have a subway there. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to be really impressed with this one.
By
it's going to be a
subway,
great
it
weekend.
means by subway it means submarine way because there's you go get into a sub and
By subway he means the restaurant.
That's what I was thinking. I love it.
Which Spike can't eat at anyway.
They got tuna, kind of. Not really.
It's sort of tuna.
No tuna trace detected.
So here is the link to the event, the Philosopher and Spike Cohen shooting event in Tarpon Springs, Florida, on Saturday, July 17th. There's the link in the there's the link in the comments, so you can go and hang out with us this weekend. We're gonna have a lot of fun. And then next week, pretty much all of next week, I'm going to be in South Dakota for Freedom Fest, which hopefully that's not where he was talking about because I'm there for a week. So I hope he didn't mean that. I can't imagine there's a subway in South Dakota either.
I can't imagine that either.
All right, let's see. So here is okay. Great news, Jason.
Yeah, he just did it. I watched him do it.
Such good news.
You already did the 2000?
Yeah.
Yep.
I watched him do it.
Was that the jerky one?
No.
That's at 28.
Oh, jerky's at 28. Okay.
Yeah. So $2,000 made from the night. So we start us.
I like.
Okay.
Michael Harris left you the only dollar amount between 10 and 20 that wouldn't get you a drink of milk.
Michael, can I refund you $1?
He left you $15.
Can I refund you $1?
I think we have one more call. Right?
Why would 15 not get him milk?
Because it has to be an obscure number. It has to be an intentional number.
Yeah, 1, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19. So not a 0 or a 5.
Yeah. How many drinks do I have left? Any?
I haven't been counting how many you've been taking. So 1, 2,
Good.
3, 4, 5, 6. You got 6.
All right.
Dave Davis gave 100. Thank you, Dave.
Yes, thank you, Dave.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to everybody who's been given. Sean Hickman gave 100 also. Thank you, Sean.
Can I just read the list real quick?
Yeah,
sure.
Want to say thanks to
it's gonna need a bidet that sprays ice cream.
Yes, please donate that to the cause right now, please. Big shout outs and thank yous to Jennifer O'Connor, Matt Wright, Sarah Ann Anderegg, super fan, Dean Patterson, Joshua Hovka, Justico Mitchell, Sarah Layer, Anonymous. There's a couple anonymouses. Thank you all for the anonymous ones. Cassandra Guzik, Michael King, Donald Crane, Patricia Stewart Mann, Tom Arnold, Pastry Castellari, Alexander Boyer. Oh my God, my mouth. John Colin, Myron Hyman, Steve Trinward, Ryan Bloor, Jamie Martin, Timothy Wysong, Victor Kocher, Stephen Witt. Oh no, there's so many. Desiree Bowen, Kevin Kalamaka, I'm potentially, and of course the Muddy Waters team, Jonathan Scott, Teresa Bookhart for the milk. Thank you so much. Jonathan Queter, my lovely wife for the milk. Thank you. John Morrissey, Brent Ritter for the milk. Thank you so much. Jack Casey for the half of a milk. Got to get the other half in there. Aaron Anderson, Matt Stark, Jessica Etheridge with the milk. Thank you. Selena Stewart, Andrew O'Donnell, Ashley Greer-Smoot, Sean Hickman, Ryan Schaefer, Jack Casey with the milk. Big love on that. Stephen Moody with the 69. Nice.
Nice.
Amy Nafi, 18 for the milk. Thank you. Laura Williams, Kenneth Blevins with the milk. Thank you. Desiree Jacobson, Matt Stark, Stephen South, Zach Martin, Matthew Ferrero, Michael Harris, Stephen Moody,
Wow.
and David Davis. Thank you all so much for being a part of this and helping just tear me apart. It's a great cause.
Yes,
It's a fantastic cause, and we are helping a family right now and getting to watch Jason suffer. I think we have one more call, right?
Yes, from Nullick Truck. Hold on.
Hey guys, I'm super happy you guys are raising money for a great cause, and I wanted to put on an offer for you guys. So this will probably be the spiciest pepper yet, but Jason, if you say Cajun Libertarian has a better beard than you, I will donate $50. Again, the spiciest pepper yet. If you say your beard is not as good as Cajun Libertarians, I will donate $50.
Wow.
Offers
So
on the table,
the first
boys.
thing that she said, and I'll agree to the terms and conditions of the first one. Eskimo Libertarian, the wonderful Nollik, Cajun Libertarian has a better beard than you. Did I just do that?
Yeah, I think that qualifies.
I think
And
that
I wanted
qualifies.
to put on an offer for you guys. So this will probably be the spiciest pepper yet. But Jason, if you say Cajun Libertarian has a better beard than you, I will donate $50.
Wow.
Woo!
$50.
$50. $50.
$50, Nullick.
Sorry, Nollik.
$50, Nullick. Sorry. like your wife said, like Kelsey said, that was live and it is clippable, and that's.
That is live. And
Aaron
clippable.
Anderson says he doesn't. Aaron Anderson said, I'm not sure if Aaron's a. I think that's a man. Aaron said he said to be fair, I didn't know the cause when I donated. He just wanted you to see you eat hot peppers, which is.
I appreciate that as well.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, well played. Yeah, agreed, Jacob. That was very well played.
No, well done. Well done.
They've attempted twice now to get me. But the swindler cannot be swindled.
So, folks, remember that you too can leave messages for us for the personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchored call-in moment by going to anchor.fm/muddiedwaters and leaving a message for us immediately. Thank you. Wait, I was told
Refresh
to
Anchor.
Yeah, I think we have one more.
Okay. Here you go. One more from Jimmy Lee.
Is Nollik in the chat?
Libertarian
I want to make sure she
Gardner
was here.
here. Calling in.
Hold on.
Gardner here. Calling in for the Chris Reynolds anchor call-in moment. I have a very last-minute question for our friend Jason. Jason, so on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm calling at the very last minute because I want to keep this benefit, this fundraiser going. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel?
Considering the burn I just got on Nollik, I'm feeling pretty good. So on a scale of that, considering that the inside of my mouth is finally like dulled to like a raging fire, but my lips feel like they're they feel like they're in an inferno right now. I would give it like of 10 being the best. I'd give it a solid 3.
How's your head?
Wow.
I
would imagine you've got to feel like it's there. because I've eaten a lot of spicy stuff, and sometimes you get like a lot of spice, and you kind of get that head rush.
I had the cold chills a minute ago, and like I shivered a couple times. So that was good. It's gone now, so we can keep on pushing. So I'm not afraid. I'm not. Steven just said I'm going to hurl. No, I'm not going to hurl yet. We've got a good foundation going right now. We got a good base layer. Good layers of protection there for me. As we continue to push through this. So don't be afraid, guys. My lips are on fire. That's probably the worst thing right now.
So, folks, if you want to help Jason suffer more, and also help our the family that's a friend of the Muddy Waters family get their child back, gofund.me/519CCC22. I will put that link in the comments again.
And Carly Sutton just donated a drink of milk to you.
Okay, well, that's good. There we go. All right, so speaking of a nice, I don't know how to. Speaking of, I don't really have a segue for this.
There is no. This is one of those ones that there is no segue.
Yeah, there's no segue. So as you, I'm sure already know, Cuba is currently seeing a demonstration that hasn't been seen in the country since the
80s.
I'm not sure at this point they've seen demonstrations like this since Batista was removed and replaced by Castro. I don't know that we've seen demonstrations like this since before the communist revolution.
Right. Yeah, I know that when I did these notes anyway, they were saying that they hadn't seen anything like this in 30 years. They haven't really compared it to anything since then. Stephen Andrew Witt says 1959.
That would be when the communist revolution happened.
So what is going on in Cuba is awful. Just, it's horrendous. It's not something. I know that we've been having a lot of fun, mainly at Jason's expense tonight, but this is not something that's a joking manner in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
But so there are three different storylines that are going on. Some of these have changed since I did these notes. I just want to preface that. If you were to take a look at like American media, the demonstrations about the desire to get the COVID-19 shots and fighting for anti-government ideals such as freedom.
Which is that moment when the corporate media admits that the word freedom is anti-government.
Right. If you take a look at what the Cuban government's saying, this is about U.S. economic asphyxiation and social media campaigns by a small number of U.S.-funded counter-revolutionaries.
Which I thought was really interesting when they called out like the U.S. government and their actions, and then Marco Rubio decided that he was going to take to Twitter and create a storm of flurry of Republicans on there. So it's like, no, of course the government's not doing anything to spur this up.
Right.
Let me spur things up real quick to let them know.
Oh, Marco Rubio is a straight up Cuba invasion hawk. Like he wants the US government to quote unquote liberate Cuba by doing Bay of Pigs 2 and toppling the Castro regime. Because if there's anything that we've learned in the last 100 years, it's that the U.S. government's really good at liberating countries and not making things exponentially worse.
Just
if nothing else.
Yeah, just check out the entire world.
For example, Afghanistan, which we're leaving now, having wasted an two generations of soldiers and killed countless people there.
But if you take a look, if you talk to the people on the streets in the Cuban population here in the United States, the people who have come from Cuba to escape what's going on there, that it's not about those things. This is 100% about them wanting freedom and getting rid of the communist dictatorship. Now, I was talking with some people today. This stuff isn't, I don't think I put this stuff in the notes. There are things that I didn't know. Leading up to this, there were food shortages, which we knew about because, communist regime, of course, there's going to be some food shortages. Right. But they were cutting everybody's electricity and water at 7:00 every night. They were just cutting it. They were just like, nope, you have used your allotment today. And they were cutting it off every night. And throw that on top with the food shortages, the fact that they can't get simple medicines like Advil. They can't get aspirin, acetaminophen, Tylenol, whatever. Right. And on top of that, they are getting hit by the COVID pandemic really terribly because they don't have basic healthcare. They don't have basic healthcare that anybody can just go and grab at the store. You can't go get vitamin C from Walgreens there. I saw a video of a guy today. He was walking down the streets and he was saying, we're starving here. We're in the midst of a food shortage and we don't have any money for food, and they're building hotels instead of giving us food, and we're tired of this. We don't want this anymore. We want our freedom. When they're out there and they're saying libertad and they're holding up the L's, like when I first saw it, I thought, why are they? Because to me, that's loser. I was like, why are they putting that symbol up? And then when I learned what it was for, I was like, these people, they aren't fighting for COVID. They aren't fighting. They aren't fighting for COVID shots. They're fighting to be free. They are fighting this. It's very reminiscent of what Hong Kong was like. Was that last year?
Hong Kong?
Actually, no, 2019. That was where.
Was that 2019? Was that 2019?
2019. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of what Hong Kong was like back in 2019. I think it went into early 2020 because I think we were talking about it during some of the Democrat debates.
Yeah.
But it's very reminiscent of that. Hong Kong wanted free speech and they wanted a Second Amendment. They wanted gun rights. Cuba just wants freedom. They are sick of living under this communist dictatorship. They're sick of not getting simple supplies. And they've gotten so tired of it that they are taking to the streets. And now you have reached this point where they're out in the streets and they're fighting. And a lot of bad stuff is happening and it's going to get worse.
Yeah, it's only getting worse. They're ostensibly calling for the removal of the president, Miguel Diaz-Canel, but honestly, that's not even fully the truth because the actual ruler of the country is Raul Castro. He stepped down as president in, I think, so it was in steps. I think he stepped down from being the No. He became, so he stepped down in October of 2019 and he became the president of the Communist Party, which is the same thing. And the reality is Raul Castro is still in charge of the country. This is still the Castro regime. Diaz-Canel is basically a sponge for this kind of venom that's happening right now. They want the Castro regime done. They want an end to communism and they want to be free. We shall see how far this goes, but like Matt said, there's some bad stuff happening.
So as the protests were getting started, the military didn't waste much time. They rolled out a number of plainclothes Cuban military officers who are armed to go and incite violence in the crowds. You can see them here getting out of the covered trucks. And when I first saw this picture, I thought, how do we know they aren't being put in the trucks? But there's nobody there putting them. They are getting out or climbing in voluntarily. So one would have to assume getting out, because why would you climb into one of those voluntarily? And you can find videos on Twitter and on YouTube where you see people in plain clothes going up to other people in plain clothes and shooting them. I believe that the youngest person to have died so far is 13 years old, and he was shot in the head. And I did find video of that, but I was not going to play that here. Because it's awful to watch, and YouTube will suspend us. It's tough watching all of this, and I can't even imagine what it would be like for somebody who is Cuban.
Well, especially when you hear that as many as at least 150, which means it's probably much more, but around 150 people have disappeared during these protests, including that's the wrong one. Including Marisol Pina Cobas and her husband Jose Luis Acosta. They're from with the Libertarian Party of Cuba. They've been arrested at their home for participating in yesterday's protests, and that they didn't go quietly. Who knows how many people have been killed already during these protests. This is how, and I'm sure there are people in the comments or that are watching this that are saying, hey, didn't we just have people, federal officers that were arresting people here for protesting? Yeah, no, we did. And like we said, authoritarian regimes are bad. I would argue that in most ways, Cuba is more authoritarian than the U.S. is, especially economically, but especially when it comes to whether or not you're allowed to give your opinion about things. That's an area where it is decidedly worse in Cuba than it is here. Although things have slowly gotten worse here too. When it comes to being able to speak your mind about something, that is definitely not allowed in Cuba, and we're seeing the results of that play out right now.
Yeah, during his speech, Diaz-Canel spoke out about the American embargo, and how it was that, and not the communist regime, that has led to this protest. Because I could try to explain this, but our friend Martha Bueno, I want to call her Marta so bad, because
it's Martha. That's what we called her for a long time. It's Martha.
She is a Cuban immigrant. And she is running for Miami-Dade Commission in District 10. Has this to say about the embargo. Blah, 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 the embargo. If you think what's happening in Cuba is because the USA has an embargo going on, I kindly ask that you inform yourself. Cuba is able to trade freely with many countries, including the USA. The embargo prohibits the U.S. from extending credit to Cuba. For decades, the Cuban government has restricted individuals in Cuba from being self-sufficient. Instead, Cubans are forced to be reliant on the failed Cuban government. A centralized planned economy where only a few benefit. Add that to a representative regime that will murder its people indiscriminately. Enough is enough. I am so disgusted in some freedom-loving people who spew this communist message without any actual knowledge. And you can even say that it's not just communist people who free market people who are spewing this communist. It's communist people that are spewing it too. They're saying if it wasn't for the embargo, this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, no, that's certainly not true. in fact, if anything, one of the reasons to repeal the embargo is to destroy that that excuse and that boogeyman that the Cuban government has, that, well, all of this is happening because of the U.S. embargo. The U.S. embargo hasn't made it any better, but it certainly isn't the reason that this is happening. It's the tip of the iceberg. With that said, the embargoes that are in place, which is the bans on extension of credit and the bans of doing business with certain Cuban state-run or state-chartered groups that are the backbone of the ability to even export or import in Cuba, it is effectively cost prohibitive or impossible for most Cubans to do trade in America or vice versa. There's also the travel ban. So it's certainly, it's not a full-on embargo. And no, it is not the reason why Cuba is in the shambles it is in. If it were, then during the, 2 or 3 years where there was no embargo with Cuba, everything would have gotten immediately better and everything would have been fine. And that certainly wasn't the case. I do believe that the embargo should end, but it is regime propaganda to say that's the reason why the embargoes. That's the reason why the things are so bad in Cuba. That's certainly not the case.
Right. So now, as we all know, I've seen a couple of people say it in the comments. When I was talking about the electricity and the water being cut off at 7, that was happening before these protests. That was happening every day before these protests. But now they've cut off the internet. There is no way for them to get messages in or out of the country through standard internet. People are doing it through VPNs, I'm guessing, or somehow. I don't know. But you are seeing stuff. But Cuba has shut off the internet, which that's a typical tactic for authoritarian regimes.
Right.
So both sides of this protest won't be out on the airwaves for people to access inside or outside of the country, which really cuts down on the amount of information that we're going to be able to get, which is why having the guerrilla journalists out there who are using, cell phone plan, like data plans to put stuff on Twitter and Facebook and whatever else they can, is a huge help. Some are already using VPNs according. What's that?
Yeah, in the comments, someone mentions, Joe says, military intervention now. If we want things to get exponentially worse, for things to become even more destabilized than they are now, and for the Castro regime to be replaced with something even worse, including terror groups and everything else, just look at the entire history of U.S. liberation of countries. It never ends that way. They don't get liberated. Things get exponentially worse. The last thing that we want, because we want the Cuban people to be free and to be safe and to be better off, that's a reason to oppose any military intervention. That's the last thing that Cuba needs. That will make things considerably worse for everyone who isn't directly profiting from the military-industrial complex. Yeah, I think the other way to go would be what would actually help everyday Cuban people, which is completely open and free trade. Also, and someone else had mentioned earlier on, is ending the or at least suspending the Neutrality Act. If people in the U.S. want to go help fight for Cuban freedom, good, go. If they want to sponsor people that are doing so in Cuba, good, do that. I don't really care. That's none of anyone's business but their own. There's military intervention is the surefire way to make this far worse than it is right now. Afghanistan, Libya, Egypt, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, literally every single country that Iran, when they got involved there, Vietnam, every single country that they've gotten involved in, it has made things worse. Suspend neutrality, absolutely, but the military intervention will help no one but the Pentagon and their contractors.
Yeah, if you end up going with military intervention, other countries are going to take notice, and they are going to use military intervention, and you're going to have potentially China, because I think China was the one that was giving them the internet. Russia could potentially help out. Venezuela, if they could afford it. Like, other countries would come to the aid of
it's going to become a
and
gigantic
it would become
mess.
a mess. It would become a mess. So
things-
humanitarian efforts would be better, but it's illegal for us to do.
Yep.
Right.
It takes the geopolitical war that we've been fighting over in the Middle East. I mean, that's been part of it, right? Is we've been trying to not let these quote unquote enemies, if you will, right? When they talk about Russia or they talk about China, or they talk about China's not necessarily as involved as, oh geez, I just scratched my eye. Hopefully that doesn't go south quickly. But when we have those over halfway across the world, right? There's a little more comfort for the American people, and it's not as much for people to be like, well, what's going to happen if they gain power. But let's say we have that conflict here in Cuba. How does that play out for us when we're just a hop, skip, and a jump away? As now we bring that closer to home.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
So
if you want a military intervention that is a matter of I think 20-minute flight to Miami, or 30-minute flight to Miami, or I don't know, 2-hour, 3-hour boat trip to Miami. Yeah, no, I guarantee you don't want that.
But we would finally get to see the actual to play devil's advocate. We would actually get to see what kind of destruction has been going on across the world, and that the American people have been blinded to. And maybe that would be enough to change some people's perspective on being advocacies for war hawks. Of course, the death and destruction would not be no one would ever advocate for that. No one should ever advocate for that.
So, to devil's advocate, your devil's advocate, there could be the people who they would see the destruction that would happen in South Florida and along the coastlines, and where I live, and they would say, and you would get the blowback that we see happen from the Middle East and other areas, and they would be like, let's say that Russia came over and helped. Just hypothetically, Russia came over and helped, and they ended up attacking South Florida, and a bunch of people were killed that way because of Russian attacks. You get a bunch of people who would say, we need to go and fight Russia. We want to do things to Russia, and they would start their own militias, or not really domestic terrorists, because they would be doing it there, but they would be going there to try to attack Russia for what they did here. Or they would just continually try to vote people in that would go and attack in that area to keep Russia busy over there. So you have, I don't know if people would learn. I think it would only bolster whatever opinions people already have about the situation.
No, true. And of course, as we talk about the proximity of Cuba to Miami, I would be remiss without being a former Alaskan and not talking about, I can see Russia from my house.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I could see some people going, oh wow, that's terrible. This is bad. What's happening? We should not support interventionism. I honestly think the closer it is to home, the more likely people are to say things like, just nuke them, just do something to keep us safe from those deadly communists, because that's how the media presents our enemies, is as these people that are going to break into our homes and murder all of us if they aren't killed now by the military, however many hundreds or thousands of miles away they are. So if it's now less than 100 miles away, I could even see it going the other way. I think it's going to be a mixed bag, but ultimately I'm not willing to see however many hundreds of thousands or even millions of people die as a result to find out how that would play out.
Right. No, I don't want to find out, which is why, again, I will say no military intervention down there.
Yeah.
If we rescind the law that bans us from giving humanitarian aid, or if you are so inclined, and I'm not going to tell you to do this, and you want to give humanitarian aid anyway, do it. Give food, give water, give guns if you want. I'm not going to tell you not to.
Yeah, listen,
I'm not
if you
going to
know
tell
of
you
a-
to, but I'm not going to tell you not to.
If you know of a black market way to get support there, and that's what you want to do, then that's on you. But
knock yourself out.
Knock yourself out.
So-
But yeah.
So on top of everything else, Diaz-Canel, in his speech, instructed his supporters to respond violently to the protesters against him. He said to go after them and attack them violently. I believe that was actually his direct quote. I don't know exactly, and not for nothing, he's still allowed on Twitter.
He didn't incite the riot. He just incited the riot to counter the riot.
Right.
Well, yeah, and to be fair, the politicians who called for all sorts of violent things against the Capitol Hill rioters are still on Facebook and Twitter, so that's kind of true. That's staying with the brand. That's on brand for social media.
That's on
government
brand for
violence
social
is
media.
allowed. Yeah, government violence is allowed. Counter government violence typically is not allowed.
So what's going on is terrible. Like, yes, go to Twitter, search the hashtag SOS Cuba, and just look at the posts that are coming in. Some of the pictures are gut wrenching. They're so difficult to look at. And I am a person who is desensitized to so much because of how much TV and how many movies I watch. But even for me, some of these were gut wrenching and hard to look at. It is not an easy thing. And my heart truly goes out to the Cuban people because they deserve freedom. They deserve the right. They have the right to be free. They just aren't being given it by, like, the government has taken that from them. The government is blocking them from this right, and they need to be able to get it back. And because of the regime that they are under, they are fighting an extremely uphill battle, and we need to give them whatever support we can without breaking any federal laws, unless you want to, to give them to give them that support. We're not thoughts and prayers people here. We're action people. I mean, that's why we have Jason eating peppers. Sorry, he's on the side. Jason eating peppers for this family.
Speaking of that, just real quick, I think if my peppered brain is correct, I'm $2 away from eating more. So,
right,
I think you guys want to push that ledge, please.
I thought you were $102 away from eating more.
Math. Just all right. Continue your thought.
I think we're doing it in 200s now. So
yeah, but we
Oh no, you're right. $2. Yeah, because we started at 1,500. Yeah, two.
Right.
Yep.
It's $2. But yeah, we we're people who want to take action, and because of government regulations and barriers, it's hard for us to be able to take action in this scenario. I have talked with a couple of Cuban friends of mine here in Florida and trying to figure out ways that we can help, and even they aren't really sure how to do it. It is a very difficult scenario to be in when you want to help, and the government, your government, has made it all but impossible for you to be able to.
Yeah, and going further, even on the the list of restricted entities under the Cuba embargo, which it is not a comprehensive full-on embargo where you can't do any trade with Cuba. But once you factor in, it is effectively either impossible or cost prohibitive to be able to do any real business in Cuba in any real way. If someone wanted to, you can't travel there. You can't do business with any of the hotels there. So that means any kind of tourism's out. You can't do business with any company that has a direct tie to any Cuban ministry, government ministry in a communist country, which means that's pretty much all of them. You can't do business with any company that is doing business with a holding company or bank in Cuba. It basically means you can't do business in Cuba. Like, you just can't do business, and you can't get around that by extending them credit. So unless you find a independently wealthy Cuban person or organization who has no ties to Cuban banks, governments, hotels, or holding companies, then you're out of business. I mean, I'm looking at this list. There's no way to do this. So, I just want to say, there is no economy with Cuba that isn't a black market economy. It's not that there's this, this burgeoning trade relationship between Cuba and the U.S. Again, it's not why Cuba's falling apart. Cuba's falling apart because of an oppressive state communist dictatorship. But one of the best ways to combat that and to kill their main narrative for why all these bad things are happening, end the embargo and open up trade, free trade,
right?
Free trade, and by doing open free trade. And here's another one. Here's one thing you could do, which would also require repealing the Neutrality Act. Allow free trade and allow that to include companies that are violating the law in Cuba. So, for example, like, I don't know, a ship-based wireless internet company that wanted to provide internet to the people of Cuba that would go around any Cuba-imposed lockdowns because it was outside of the Cuban IP ranges, and so you could have phones going in there that weren't legal in Cuba, that were accessing the data of the ship. There's plenty that could be done by simply just ending the Neutrality Act and opening up trade and letting people do business with Cuba. Cuba is a relatively small insular country run by a dictatorship that is on the precipice of being overthrown. Some very short measures would allow the people of Cuba to be able to depose their own tyrants without having to get the military-industrial complex involved in any way. I say that would be far better, and it does so while also opening up markets, making both us and the Cuban people more free and more prosperous in the process, and allowing us to start developing those business and personal relationships that are necessary to have long-term, strong alliances between people in different countries.
So yeah.
So that's everything on the show, but we are, again, $2 away from Jason Lyon eating another terrible pepper.
So Cajun donated through the PayPal because he couldn't do it through the GoFundMe, so that was $30. So I think.
And didn't Nalik give you 50 through PayPal?
Nalik has not yet. So she's working on that right now.
She put in the comments that she was going to.
Yeah, she's working on it right now. So she just sent me a message. So we are above that threshold. So I owe that. Apparently Sarah superfan Sarah Anderegg is also having issues with donating.
So let's address some of the comments here. Before I refresh, there was one from Joe who said something along the lines of that we need SEAL Team 6 to go into Cuba, and also that free trade is not a one-way thing. Free trade is a thing, well, you can't have trade one way. Trade always has two partners, and that's something that gets lost in the Joe, we stream on Facebook, on Periscope, which is what you're on, and YouTube and Twitch and Float. And so we're on a few different things.
We're on a few things.
So this idea that trade is one way in that's not how it works. So for example, when you trade something, when you buy a Chinese product, you have both sides are receiving something. There's this weird protectionist idea when it comes to trade that only the person who is selling the thing is receiving something beneficial because they're getting the money. But the reality is if you're the person buying, when you're the buyer, you're receiving something that you decided was worth more than the money that you exchanged for that thing, which means that there is no such thing as a trade imbalance unless someone points a gun to your head and says you have to buy this thing. That's a trade imbalance. But for example, if the government steps in and places a tariff or tax on that thing, that's a trade imbalance because they took your money and you didn't get any value in exchange. But in any trade, inherently in the trade itself is a balance in that you decided you wanted that thing or that service or whatever it is more than the money that you exchanged it for or whatever you exchanged it for. So yeah, all trade, free or otherwise, is a two-way thing or a multi-party thing. And there's I do not require another country's government to free their people to consume my goods and get something from me that's more valuable to them than the money that they give to me. I don't require that, or I shouldn't require that in order for my government to free me to trade whatever I want with whomever I want. Why? It would be like a competition or a face-off where you had two people saying, if you don't stop punching yourself in the face, then I'm not going to stop punching myself in the face. You can punch yourself in the face if you want to. I'm going to stop punching myself in the face. And tariffs and protectionist measures, which do devastating, are disastrous to any economy that implements them, are the equivalent of punching yourself in the face.
We covered the trade, the tariffs that were enacted under Trump. Oh God, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And they said that after the numbers came in and it was showing where all of everything was, and we went deep into it, and I don't remember all of the numbers off the top of my head, but it turns out that you, as the American consumer, are paying 93.7%, I believe that's the exact number, 93.7% of those tariffs that are supposed to be imposed on China. So all that not free trade is doing, all that allowing tariffs on trade, all that does is cost you, the taxpayer, money. You, the consumer, it costs you money. It just makes the product more expensive. It doesn't even anything out because you are the one paying it to the country that is enacting it on a different country. It makes also no sense.
It's also costing jobs. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
And even if the tariff was going to do what it was intended to do, which was to stop the trade, because this was Trump coming in trying to put it in balance. So let's say the tariffs were so high that it stopped the trade there. You're still going to have to get these same goods and services, but the small businesses are going to have to go elsewhere where they're going to have to spend more money to get these things. And so their prices are going to drive up. The smaller businesses aren't going to be able to be successful. So you're going to be shutting down doors. People are going to lose their jobs, lose their businesses, lose their way of life, all because we wanted to make a fair fight when the only fair fight is a free fight, and a free fight is by free market capitalism and free trade.
Exactly. And that also costs jobs because you have some that go out of business. Jobs are lost there. And then you have other companies that just leave and go where they're not going to be affected by the tariffs, and they take all their jobs with them. So for example, let's say that you're a company that makes a durable good like a car or a refrigerator or air conditioning unit or something, some large expensive thing, and you rely on cheap steel and cheap silicone and cheap already produced smaller items that have to go in like semiconductors and processors and things like that have to go into this computer or car or whatever else. And now you're told that you have to pay whatever percent tax on that stuff that's imported from China. So you can either stay here and pay more for that stuff, which means you have to increase the price of your goods or reduce your profit margin, or do both, which not only hurts you but also hurts all your investors in your company and anyone that's getting any dividends from your company. Or you just move to a country that doesn't have those tariffs. So now more jobs are lost in an effort to save jobs. Trade protectionism is a proven failure. It was a proven failure back during the Smoot-Hawley Act when it triggered a global worldwide depression, including here in the U.S. It also triggered a massive depression in Europe that led to the rise of the Third Reich and the fascists in Italy and in Germany. Trade protectionism makes things worse. It is the idea that you and another person couldn't possibly be trusted to trade between yourselves, that government has to step in and decide whether or not you're allowed to do that, and if so, at what cost. It's a stupid idea. It always has been. And it plays to the worst fears of people that don't understand economics. Let's see. Yeah, and again, so Lady Desiree is saying, she thinks it's realistic that Cuba will change dramatically with lifting the embargo. I don't think it's going to change
unrealistic
everything.
For anybody that's not reading the comment. Unrealistic.
Yeah, it's a little unrealistic to think that
Yeah, you said realistic, and I was like,
Yeah, no, it's not going to fix all of Cuba. If nothing else, it just gets rid of the main narrative that Cuba and its supporters, the Cuban regime and its supporters, use for why for why things are falling apart there. For no other reason, it should be removed. If for no other reason, and I do think it will help somewhat. I think the bigger thing will be ending, or at least suspending for Cuba, the Neutrality Act. I think there's so much creative stuff that could be done. This is an island nation. Do you know how many things could be done right off the coast of Cuba from boats? For example, what I was saying with the internet service, you could effectively neuter the Cuban regime without firing a single shot if the U.S. government, through the Coast Guard and the Navy, weren't essentially protecting the Cuban government from anything that were going to happen from U.S.-based actors. I think that will. I think that those two things coupled together, that would lead to dramatic change. But it would require both of those things to end, both the end to the embargo and an end or at least a suspending of the Neutrality Act. Are we at 2100 yet? So Jason can eat.
Yeah, we're at 2167.
Yes. Oh, yes. We were at 2167, including a $19 donation for some milk. So in case you need some milk.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I was gonna say, I don't know how much. I haven't been paying attention to how much he's been drinking, but he's got a good amount of milk saved up.
It's. Wow. I also want to highlight in that regard. Ashley S in the comment section said that if we are able to get to $2,500 donated, she's going to throw in another 150. So we're at 2167 right now. So by my bearded peppered math, that would be 333. There's 33 people viewing this right now. That's $10 a person. We can hit that goal pretty easily.
Yeah.
Also, if you share it out to two people, you just took it from $10 down to $3. $3
or $4, yeah.
Right. And again, we are doing this for a great cause. The family that we are helping raising money for is a good friend of Muddied Waters Media. Has been there through thick and thin for us, has always been there for each and every one of us, to the best of my knowledge anyway. And
so are we going to try to sorry, go ahead.
Just a truly wonderful family. And to see them going through anything like this is heartbreaking for anybody that knows them. So we really want to help them out. We love all of them dearly, and I've given as much money as I possibly can to this cause, and I wish that I could give more. But if you can, please give to the GoFundMe, and we would be absolutely honored to have you as part of the team that's helping this family out. Honestly, I'd like to, sorry, go ahead. The family, the guy is a brother to both to all three of us, to Spike, Jason, and myself, and we there have been times that we have all leaned on him, and he is a person who, even if he needed somebody to lean on, he's not quick to ask for it. Yep. And so the fact that we have the ability to help him out is something that I am honored to do, and I wish that we could do more.
Yeah, we hope to do as much as we possibly can. Just so, are we staying on until we get the 2,500?
No. I have to beat.
I have to call out of work by what time?
I have to be to work at 6 a.m. Freedom time. So that is 7 hours. So I've got to be up in less than 7 hours to make that. It's about a 40-minute drive.
Okay, folks. Well, we will put the link in the notes one more time in order to have where, if you want to share, if any of you want to share with other people, we can get up to, if we get up to 2,500, then who was it? We'll give up 150.
Ashley S.
Ashley S.
Yep. Ashley S.
We'll give, and that'll make it to 2,750. And if someone gives another 50, then he'll eat that jerky thing for some, and he'll eat the jerky thing, and that'll be a nightmare for him.
Will it? Is that where that hits?
So the special thing was, I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to leave you guys where you guys were like, well, I'll just wait until he doesn't have to eat this to start donating. I see you, Kenny Johnson, with your comment. I'll donate once the show is over.
If you don't donate, wait till you see what I do.
Yeah. So I appreciate you wanting to wait to save me. I promise you guys, and I assure you guys, that I am going to be okay. I will be fine. I will be in some severe amount of pain in a short time, I'm sure. But with the goals, with the monetary goals that we hit, as we hit those, I will be making a video to be able to still give you guys a little bit of bang for your buck, in order to hope that we can help make a difference for this family. Talking with this family, and I'm so grateful that the three of us were able to really learn about this cause and be able to help them. Yeah. Talking with the family, once it is, they're not being anonymous because they want to be anonymous. They're not hiding the details because they want to hide the details. So as soon as it is safe and legal for them to do so, they are excited for the moment they can come out and say thank you and explain the whole situation as much as they can. But again, it's only as it's safe and legal for them to do so, without raising issues.
Right, exactly.
Right, and that's one thing that we definitely don't want. We don't want any issues coming from all of this, which is why we've been very careful. We don't want to say who this family is. We don't want to say who this family is, and we don't want to risk anything going awry in their trial. So
and we hope that the everything is dismissed, so that this money
we get to refund all this money.
And the family is reunited even sooner.
Nothing.
And all of Jason's pain will have been for absolutely nothing. That's what we're hoping for all three of those reasons equally.
We will probably immediately start up a GoFundMe for the ulcers I just created in my stomach, but for a later date.
Yeah, for a later date. And for all the suffering that you all went through as well. So folks, thanks so much for tuning into this special marathon episode, the Jason-thon, if you will. The Jason Pepper-thon. Join us next week for the Jason Butthole-thon, where we help to raise money for the lifetime of antacids and I guess Pepto-Bismol and I'm not. What works for having to evacuate?
I think time.
No.
I think time is the only thing because it's
really-
got to work its way through the system.
Maybe like
it'll help this.
lidocaine or something.
I mean, unless you're
Is there
putting it like just on up there and squeezing, I don't think that's going to make a difference.
You know, you're
Yeah, I
asking
don't-
questions that I never even
so
thought to ask. So I'm going through this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
time travel,
Like Terry
go
Miller
back
says,
and
at a
undo
certain
this.
point, nothing helps. I think that time travel, go back and undo this.
Yeah,
Jack Casey.
Don't do any of this.
But yeah, time travel is the only thing that's going to help in this situation.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So, folks,
we're
thanks
super
again for tuning into this. Join us tomorrow for My Fellow Americans. My guests will be Martha Bueno and Zach Foster. We're going to talk about this Cuban situation and the libertarian response. What is it that we as libertarians should be pushing for? What is the best way forward? What's going on there? Martha is a Cuban American. She's the descendant of people who fled Cuba. And she's also very active in the Libertarian Party, is the head of the LP Miami, and is running for office in Miami. Zach Foster is also very heavily involved in the Libertarian Party and the freedom movements in Latin America. So we're going to have some incredible conversation tomorrow. And then on Thursday is the Writer's Block. And who is your guest, Matt?
You guys are not going to believe who my guest is. My guest is such a big name. You're going to have to wait to find out.
You won't believe.
You won't
who
believe
Matt's
who
guest
this
is going
is.
to be on Thursday. Okay, it's going to shock. The
It's going
answer
to shock everybody.
will change everything. Thursday at 8, and then on Friday at is it still 3?
No, I think it's. Hang on a second. I think we hit 2,500.
Did we really?
Yeah,
Oh
we
my
hit
God.
20. We hit 25:45. 25:45. People, thank you. Fucking thank you.
That's
Thank
two
you for
peppers,
this.
isn't it?
That's 2
25.
That's 25. That's 2 peppers.
It's 2 peppers.
That's 2. Peppers.
Jennifer Morrison, thank you for truly making a huge impact on this campaign, on this cause. That's
thank you.
That's
Thank you.
incredible.
And if Ashley S gives you the 150, that gets you to
27.95.
27.9.
26.95. I'm sorry.
20
sorry. 150. 150. Yeah. 26.95. I'm sorry. I thought it was
20
350.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah. It gets a,
Yeah.
a
26.95. 26.95.
That's 2 peppers, Jason. So while Jason is processing that, Friday at what time, Matt? What was that?
I don't. Hang on. Let's see if we can find out really quick.
You're not going to believe what time on
you're-
Friday night.
That's right.
is,
You are not going to believe what
Cajun
time.
and Eskimo
Hang
from
on.
bayous to igloos. And then join me this weekend, Saturday.
Hey, what time is a Cajun and Eskimo show on Friday?
Oh my God, Matt. So is the show over with?
No, what time is
No.
you're on the air?
7 on 7. I think 7 Eastern. Don't quote me on that. Let me see if I can find
I think it's 7
Well,
Eastern.
we're
It
quoting
might-
Connie on that. 7 Eastern.
We're
Friday at
quoting
7
Connie
Eastern.
on that,
according
7
to
Eastern.
Connie. 7 Eastern. On Friday. And then this weekend, Saturday the 17th, join me and the Philosopher in Tarpon Springs, Florida at Reload Gun Range. And I will put the link to that in the comments one last time.
Superfan Sarah Anderegg and myself will be there.
And yeah, Superfan Sarah Anderegg and himself, Matt Left Man Right, will be Matt Left, if you will, will be there. And you can hang out with us. Go to the event in the links, And then on gosh, what's happening on Monday? Oh, Jason Lyon, Mr. America, the Bearded Truth.
Mr. America, the Bearded Truth.
Muddied Waters, Monday through Friday now. We have shows as intended. As always intended. Jason Lyon on Monday at 8 p.m. for Mr. America, the Bearded Truth. He should have mostly recovered from this at that point, unless you guys keep giving, in which case this will just be his personal hell weekend. Either way, something good's going to happen. Jason, do you know what your subject's going to be on Monday, or are you still waiting a little bit sooner?
We are still going to gather a little bit more information on that, but I think that Matt gave a good synopsis of kind of the rundown of what we're doing. So we're doing a little more in depth on specific topics. And so, as Matt said last night, we did civil asset forfeiture. So we're going to look at doing either a topic and just diving deep into it, or we're going to be able to debunk the Republicrat theories and give up the libertarian solution to better our society.
That's really cool, man. That's cool that we have someone who's doing that, like diving down into a subject for an hour. That's really cool. And then join us right back here. Same muddied time, same muddied place for another fantastic episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom, where Matt Wright and I, sans Jason Lyon, kind of sad, but also sans suffering. Sans Jason Lyon, Matt Wright and I will be parsing through the week's events like the sweet little cheery little monkeys that we are. Folks, thanks so much again for tuning in. Don't forget to give to the GoFundMe to help the family that we all love. And folks, we will see you tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, this weekend, and Monday and Tuesday, because we do a show every damn day of the week now.
Muddied Waters Media is pretty much all the time now, and each and every one of you are the reason that is a thing. So
absolutely.
Thank you
now
to all of you.
Matt, if someone were to try to find us on the internet, is that even possible? And if so, how?
It would be possible.
Oh, here we do it. Jason has to do the thing.
Oh, yeah, of course he does. All one would have to do is go to anchor.fm /Muddied Waters.
Yes.
Anchor.fm/Muddied Waters. You can find all of our episodes there. And you can listen to the sweet, sultry, dulcet tones of our voices.
Give us money.
Give us money. You can also donate. You can also donate and leave us messages that we will play live on the air.
Money and messages.
Money and messages. Money and messages. And you can listen to us. It's messages of money. It's the greatest site on the internet since E-Bombs World.
Wow. That's an obscure reference.
No.
Don't forget to consume Prilosec.
I won't. Or you can find this and every other episode at muddiedwatersmedia.com.
Well, that's fantastic. That convinces me to go do all that as soon as this show ends, because I didn't before. Folks, thanks again for tuning in. Thank you for Jason for suffering for a family in need. Thank you to Matt and me for watching it. Thank you to you for helping Jason suffer. We love you very much. We will see you all every single day of the week. And where we're going,
we don't need roads.